please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, like there's no to tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
It's a little bit crazy in here today. There are some emotions and things happening that I just saw it happen. Jason Kelce hasn't played in the last 24 hours, and I just saw his value drop in the other room. Everybody was yelling at each other. They took away his late-night show and started giving his late-night show to other centers around the league.
Jurgens tonight.
Oh, I'm in on that.
Late-night Jurgens. Which sounds a lot like my high school experience, but either way, we're here.
Does he have a brother that could date a celebrity?
Oh, man.
You guys saw yesterday's Philadelphia Eagles game.
Yeah.
Said to yourself, well, they don't need Jason Kelce. You guys told me that was an important center. None of us know how to measure that.
I mean,
he just has a podcast.
It could be entirely possible that this is a Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love situation where the Eagles just have generational center after generational center. But a couple months removed from him stepping down and getting all sorts of media opportunities that we've never seen a center in the NFL ever get. And they're much better at running the ball. They had 7 rushing touchdowns. He goes in there hurt, and they still dominate the line of scrimmage. Jurgens tonight. Yes.
Can you guys tell me who the second most famous center is ever?
Mike Webster.
I mean, you got in there confidently, but you took somebody from the 1970s that a whole lot of people listening
It's been a while,
here
Dan.
haven't heard of.
I genuinely can't without Googling. I have to Google for assistance on finding out famous centers.
I do think that 3 years from now, given just the general difficulties of late night, a group of executives are going to get together with the Jason Kelce decision to give a late night show and be like, what were we doing back then? Like, we got carried away, right? With the whole thing.
Caught up in the moment.
Is he like Hawk Tua for media sports people?
I feel like it's Jeff Saturday, but if his last name wasn't Saturday, would he be as famous?
That's a good
one.
one.
Put that on the poll at Le Batard Show. Would Jeff Saturday be as famous if he wasn't named Saturday? And put the second thing up there as well. Is Jeff Saturday the second most famous center ever?
I've always thought about that. I've always thought that about Dwight Lauderdale in this market.
Huh.
Like, just gets a boost up having that last name.
Yeah.
Is that something you've thought of a lot? Is it? Dwight Lauderdale, an anchor from 15 years ago.
I have to be honest. I have thought the same thing.
It's true. It's true.
I thought it was
He's
fake.
broadcasting in one of the major cities is Fort Lauderdale, and he's named Dwight Lauderdale.
Was he going to do that wherever market he ended up in?
Look, I'm on to him and Al Sunshine.
Nick Mangold's been in a lot of commercials.
Yes, that's
a lot
a good
of
one.
commercials.
That's a good
Might
one.
be on the Rushmore.
Yeah.
Rushmore, literally. Rushmore. You got 4 that you need to put up there, and you've only given me 3 so far.
Pouncey?
Webster was a great answer, I thought.
Barrett Robbins?
I mean, Webster's up there, right? It might be Barrett.
Pounceys are good.
The Pounceys had their day.
I think Jessica skews Pittsburgh here, though, because I don't think the majority of the audience knows who we're talking about when we say Mike Webster.
Olin Kreutz?
Ooh.
Anybody who would fight your teammates, anyone whose teammates are all scared of him, like Olin Kreutz. You guys were watching Eagles Commanders yesterday, marveling at the fact that it was just a fight, right? That they just decided at some point to start punching each other, punching the ball out, but it's okay if it doesn't hit the ball and just hits the dude's face.
Is that what Marcus Lattimore does now?
Yeah.
That's all he does.
This
Yeah.
dude's a problem. He's just always fighting.
I mean, that position's got to suck to age at. Especially if you were as good as he was. Like, that was a person. Mike Evans beat him up the last time they faced each other, but that was a person who gave Mike Evans problems, was it not?
Yeah, I mean, Lattimore was at Ohio State and certainly in New Orleans. He was incredible. And now he's moved on, and he's gotten kind of like bigger, and I don't know if he's just he was always physical, but now he's just really overcompensating because his body can't quite do the same things by just trying to be really powerful and mixing it up with big, strong guys. And like there was that stretch where there's maybe like 35 seconds of game time where Philadelphia scored the 14 points when it was a one-score game. And Lattimore's just like totally out of the game in his own head. He's playing his own game with A.J. Brown.
Yeah, just fighting him.
He just like totally short-circuited in that. And he was brought in to be a soothing, veteran, calming presence there for that secondary. And the guy's just having like a crisis of confidence within his own body. He's just overcompensating by just going crazy.
I think when you're talking all-time centers, you have to include Bulldog Turner.
Yeah.
All-decade team. I mean, great name, Bulldog. I mean,
that's all you're doing there.
Yeah.
With both him and Saturday, you're taking the nickname,
yes,
and the last name.
Yeah.
Two-way player, looks like. He led the NFL in interceptions in 1942 as well.
Wow.
Really?
Insane.
Wow.
Classic Bulldog.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive. That the center led the league in interceptions. That'd probably be hard to do today.
I know this is a weird market to do this in. I've noticed from my group chats that a lot of people don't feel bad for the Buffalo Bills because they're Dolphins fans. But I woke up, like, I haven't hurt for a team that I haven't had a connection to like this in quite some time, because Josh Allen and this Bills team gets to be historic losers. Sadly for that franchise, it's not the most known historic loser. But it's not like they choke in these games. It's not like you can pick apart his performance. He plays so well every time he goes up against Patrick Mahomes, and they still come up short.
Stugotz. Dalton Kincaid stole from Josh Allen what would have been a Buffalo Bills memory for all time.
No doubt.
On a catch you've got to make, because the play that Josh Allen made running straight backward 12 yards back is the play that needed to be made to beat Patrick Mahomes, and he made it. Josh Allen made it, and Dalton Kincaid did not.
And we didn't obsess over this over the watch long because there's so many things going on, and we're not hearing the feed, and I'm not monitoring social to know like what a big deal it was. He got that first down.
Well, wait a minute. You know what? They got the first down before that. The play before that, they got Kincaid, I think, was the one who got the first down. Both spots were bad, and this is where I say this is really stupid the way that we're doing this. That we decide what Josh Allen is for all time over game of inches. Just two referees running at each other, and they're running in different places. They're spotting the ball differently.
There's nothing more annoying than that. You see them running, and they're just like, wait, they're a yard apart. How does that happen?
I mean, the angle from behind him was it made it seem obvious when he just needed to get to the pronounced line over there. But I think what stings the most, and you could see Josh Allen wearing it in his postgame, is it's not just a Super Bowl appearance for that market. It's not in his legacy. It's not even one potential championship. Mahomes is literally standing in his way from being Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, from being an all-time great.
Josh Allen would be Patrick Mahomes were not for Patrick Mahomes constantly throwing the door in his face.
Right, and Spags, I mean.
Go ahead and look at the stats on last night's game. Josh Allen was better. It doesn't mean anything. It won't be remembered that way.
To Mike's point, teams with 4+ touchdowns and 0 turnovers are 21-2 in the playoffs since 2000. Since 2020, excuse me. The two losses, the Bills at Chiefs, 2024 AFC Championship, Bills at Chiefs, 2001 divisional round. Mike is right. Patrick Mahomes is keeping Josh Allen from being Patrick Mahomes.
It's not just that, though. It's Patrick Mahomes needing to be on a team that has no precedent in the sport if they win another game. Like that the last 3 years of Chiefs football, it's not just that Mahomes is standing in his way. It's something that will look like an empire when we look back at it 30 years from now.
And think about the last 2 eliminations in the postseason. Josh Allen made the play. Kincaid can't make the play. Diggs can't make the play for him. He makes the throws in the moment. And to even come up with that throw after what I can only describe as a satanic disguised pass rush from Spags. It was
no one dials it up like him.
It was
No one.
evil.
Yeah.
That was pure evil, what we saw. And Josh Allen still found a way to get the ball off and find a receiver.
But, like, if we're being honest, he just threw it up there.
Yes.
Like,
Oh.
hoping that it found someone.
Kincaid was open. He saw Kincaid.
No, but he just threw it up.
He just threw it up there,
did.
hoping that the play would happen.
Now, you would say, hey, Josh Allen has made so many ridiculous plays for us over the years. Kincaid needs to catch that ball. It was right in his hand.
He did need to catch that ball, but
Right.
Josh was heaving it downfield, hoping something would happen. He was running for his life. Come on, that was crazy.
Agreed.
What's he supposed to do?
Same way, though, that Eli Manning just threw it up to Tyree, and Tyree made the play, and it's remembered for all time.
I don't think that'd be a catch now.
It'd get overturned on
If we were to
replay.
relitigate that play, I don't think that would be.
It touched the floor.
Yeah, I don't think that would be viewed as a catch now.
Let me ask you guys something, because Mike mentioned how as he went home, his feeling for the Bills got worse. Are any of you confused by the sheer lack of happiness for the Chiefs? Like the nationwide lack of happy that is Chiefs adjacent, where nobody seemed to be rooting
No one's happy
for
for the
that
Chiefs.
as that result.
Why is that? Why does no one want to see this happen?
I mean,
no
no
one wants
one-
to be part of history. I don't get it.
I mean, you
They're
kind of
so lovable.
You kind of get tired of the same team doing it again and again and again, right?
I don't know. This is a different team. Like, are they villains? They wanted to be villains last year. They tried to make themselves villains. I don't view them as villains.
The positive for them is they're playing Philadelphia.
I was going to say, do we
Right.
want to see people from Philadelphia happy? Like, get out of here.
I don't view them as villains either. I think maybe some of that stuff starts to play because Buffalo just seems pure. And they're you can root for that type of underdog from that market, that scrappy team and their playing style. So when you juxtapose them from the other team that's just so likable, maybe they become unlikable. But I'm not there yet. I wanted to see them lose. Someone made the point yesterday that we just went from like a dynasty to another dynasty with no break in the middle. The last time that we saw an AFC championship without the Patriots or the Chiefs was 2017. Like,
I wonder where the line is, though, on where it is that people get tired of the greedy, gluttonous
I think
empire
it's 2 Super Bowls in a
building.
row.
Yeah.
I think we all have Chiefs
there.
fatigue right now. Unless you're a Chiefs fan, you're like, man, I've already seen this matchup. I've already seen this head coach. I've already seen this quarterback. I've already seen this tight end. We're still doing this, huh?
The matchup was a classic, though. I mean, the first matchup, it was a great game.
I was
I
rooting
understand
for the Chiefs.
I know. I understand people not wanting to see the same matchup twice in 3 years, but it was a great game.
Well, at some point with the Patriots, it turned from a cute story to that's enough. It never did happen to Michael Jordan, but he took a break in between. Michael Jordan was not someone the nation tended to be rooting against, no matter how many underdogs made an appearance, nor did people tire of him.
We wanted more.
I think the Patriots, like, even turned it again towards the end. Like, at the end, you're like, I kind of want to see Brady win again and see if he could do this. Like, at the end of his career, see if he could do this one last time. And then he goes and he wins one in Tampa, too. But, like, I think that the Patriots were so long that you kind of rooted for them and then you hated them. And then at the end, you're like, can they keep doing this? Like, I kind of want to see how much they can do this.
The thing, though, with Mahomes that is happening, because this is the most limited offense he's had. That's the highest scoring game they've had this season. They needed all of it. The thing that's happening with Mahomes is it's happening so much for him so early that I don't see people rallying around his superstardom in a way that supports I'm witnessing historic greatness the way that you would during Michael Jordan's day, because somebody's not supposed to get there every year. Even 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady wasn't getting there every year. And so, there were stops along the way where you're not one win away from 3 in a row. And does Jessica have this right when she says it's 2? It's 2, and when you're going for the 3rd, that we're all like, it can't just be like that. But again, we were okay with it before social media. We were okay with it with Michael Jordan a million years ago.
I think the average fan doesn't root for historical greatness. The average fan roots for their team. And if you're a fan of almost any team in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes has beaten you in the last decade, and you're sick of it. You want him to lose. That's how it ended up with the Patriots. At first, I was
Right.
like, this is annoying, and then the Steelers kept losing to them in the playoffs, and I was like, all right, someone needs to stop this.
Right. Tom Brady did. I mean,
But, like, do you want to give Nick Sirianni all of that power? Really?
Yes, I
like
do.
you want to see
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni on a power trip holding the Lombardi with a ring. Like that's not the person that you want to see put an end to this, right?
We have a ton of emotion here in the room today. And Stugotz, last night, Greg Cody came out of the gate. He was complaining because he didn't have his Miller Lite.
Well,
it was a strong complaint, and it was a good complaint. He was cantankerous about it. He was bothered. He's like, "Is this a watch party or is this a watch symposium? Like, where's my Miller Lite?" And so he came out of the box here roaring again, maximum curmudgeon, and took us all off guard where he decided to start the watch along last night. Why are you ripping the Walter Payton Man of the Year?
Okay, I'm not ripping it, and God bless Walter Payton and his memory and legacy, but I'm ripping the NFL for advertising this off-field award as the NFL's most prestigious award. No, it isn't. The NFL MVP is a bigger award, right? I mean, winning a Super Bowl is a bigger award. God bless the men who have won the NFL Man of the Year because they did great off-field work, community work. Just don't call it the most prestigious award. I don't think even the men who have won that award think of it as the most prestigious award. That's all I'm saying.
It's like the Medal of Freedom.
Well, if you say so.
Okay.
I mean, what's his name? Lionel Messi wins the Medal of Freedom. Medal of Freedom.
Medal of
Doesn't
Freedom.
even show
Morgan
up for the award. How about that? He had too busy. 19 people win the Medal of Freedom. 18 show up for the award. Lionel Messi's, doing God knows what.
He needs
God
his
knows
beer.
where.
I'm telling you, somebody's got to go get some beer because
I don't think so, actually. I'm all for making it a Miller time, but Greg's cooking. Let's keep him like this. Cantankerous Greg.
And again, that's not a negative on the NFL Man of the Year. The MOY, the Moy. It's a great award.
I don't think it's called the Moy.
Yeah, Man of the Year.
And it's called the Walter Payton Man.
It's not the Moy. The Moy is not what it's called.
WP Moy. for short. But it's a good award. Nobody on earth can name who won it 2 years ago, but it's such a prestigious award.
You're always in trouble if Greg Cody starts something with "God bless so and so, so and so," and
Covered himself on the front end.
And
yes.
here comes the butt.
God bless Walter Payton.
I wrote that down.
Can I ask an insensitive question, like amongst friends here, no judgment?
Okay.
Damar Hamlin, nominated for Comeback Player of the Year again.
Well, he was bad.
What is he coming back from this time? He's just bad?
Yeah, he was not that good last year.
Well, he was never good to begin with.
But this was his best season.
I mean, 3 interceptions, come on.
He
That's
finally
not just
played. Like,
Yeah.
he was a backup his whole career.
But he came back last year, to Billy's point.
Yeah, but he was good for them. This
But
year.
come on, this
No, I
feels
know.
like a makeup award. Like they
Well, it
meant to
was.
give it to him last year, and then they didn't. So like, we'll just give it to him next
They're
year.
low
Hopefully
on
no one-
nominees.
People
I've heard-
forget when the incident happened.
I've heard rumors that the expectation was that if Flacco won, he was going to give it to Damar Hamlin. And Flacco was like, nope, this is mine.
The Chiefs were hunting Hamlin last night, especially on whatever the Mahomes running
soon,
plays were.
Yeah.
They,
Take it
I
easy,
think
young.
even if his last name was Tuesday, we don't really talk about him the same way. I think Sunday is like the only other day of the week he could have gotten away with.
There was a baseball player called Rick Monday. No one talked about him.
Back to my dad's point about the Walter Payton Award. Do you think there's any jerk out there that just like tells his agent, "Hey, I want in on this award"? Like it's all just
For
for the
sure.
It's all for the pub. It's just like I want all the photo
are there
ops.
incentives if you win? I assume like some players probably have like
get the patch.
awards in their contracts where they'll get more money.
there can't be a charitable incentive if you win Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
There has to be.
No.
There almost has to be.
I
The
imagine
league
the-
should donate to
Right.
whoever wins.
That's what I imagine they would do.
Okay, perhaps, but I don't think anyone's got a contract clause that pays them more money. Otherwise, you'd have 50 guys. Hey, get me some turkeys. I'm going to the orphanage this morning.
This honestly may have to be Josh Allen's pivot. Just go all in on that award.
That's
Win
the
the
most
Walter
prestigious
Payton?
award. Yeah.
I want to see the emails of the one guy telling his agent, "Hey,
No, they don't.
I don't care about the
they
good
don't-
stuff.
They don't leave a paper trail.
It makes me look good."
Those are all meetings that have no paperwork.
Those are all
on them.
voice notes.
The Man of the Year winner receives a $250,000 donation in his name to a charity of his choice. The other 31
Wow.
finalists receive donations of their name of $50,000 to each charities of their choice.
Mike is right. I can't name the guy who won it 2 years ago or at any time, but I'm guessing if we were just guessing, J.J. Watt has won that award, right?
2017.
Really?
Don't they wear like a special like patch
Yeah,
on their
the
like
Walter Payton.
Yeah. Looks
Cam
like
Hayward
Batman
won it
almost.
last year. I did know that.
The idea of a guy coming into his agent and marketing team and being like, this year you guys bring me the sick kids. All right? We're going to take a lot
need this award.
Look, every Tuesday, I'm taking pictures. We're going to win that award this year.
You put me in a children's hospital.
Leslie, Bill, Paul, if you don't win me this award, you're fired.
Plenty of pictures. Post like crazy. Because if I just do this for doing it, it's not as nice.
Bring an outfit change. Maybe people think I go more than once.
I also like the idea of somebody going in there and just being aggressively, you know what? I'm going to take a lane no one else is taking. I'm being shameless about from day one of this season, I'm going to win this award. Like, I'm going to say it out loud. Hashtag slogans.
That would be terrible to commit so much of your life to charity work.
It'd be the
That
worst,
would be so
honestly.
shameless, Dan.
What a ruse.
Terrible.
just to win the award.
What's the cause? Water? Nah, not enough eyes.
Have you guys noticed?
Kids.
Have you noticed that the ticket that Goodell gives away every single week is the exact same seat number? So he's constantly giving away
What
tickets
ticket?
to every day. Goodell
He's
every
been doing a ticket giveaway?
yeah every playoff game they give Super Bowl tickets to like fans or have done something for the team or whatever, right? And every single time it's the exact same seat number.
Like it's a stock photo, probably?
No,
so they're
it's a
not showing
giant
the
printed
actual-
out prop like that they
But you
go
think
and
that's
they.
the actual ticket,
No,
like the
it's-
seat?
No, I know that it's not.
It's
but,
like when you have a phone number in a show and it's like 555 fake number.
But they're holding two tickets with the exact same seat number. It's like, oh, we gave away 2 tickets, blah, blah, blah. And it's like they couldn't even put seats 6 and 7. They're both like seat 6. They printed one thing multiple times. They take it city to city, and they're giving away the same exact seat.
You think they should create multiple props for each city?
I think it's going to be very confusing, honestly.
They're all
Once
gonna
they
get there
get
and
to
they're
the
gonna be
Super
in the
Bowl,
same seat?
everyone's going to have the same seat.
That
What's
would
the
be
usher going to do?
confusing. I think you have to sit on the other person's lap who got there first.
You mentioned the 555 hotline number. We tried last week a failed experiment. We are revamping it and hopefully trying to get 1-800-STUGOTZ as the number so that we can make the hotline a little better. But Stugotz, on his way home, learned of this hotline, was bothered by the 2 hot takes that were selected by the producers to punctuate segments last week. And so he decided on his way home, our sponsored hotline, to leave his own voicemail on the way home. Again, this is something he did years ago. He can't help himself. He's got to give opinions wherever it is. They'll be recorded. Let's see what we have here.
Hey, Dan, Stewart on a mobile phone. First time, long time. Love the show. Anyway, Dan, I don't know if you watched the games over the weekend, but I did. And let me tell you something. I got to be honest with you. If the Chiefs think they can play like that, the way they did against the Texans, if they think they can play like that against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, they got another thing coming. I mean, they do. And let me tell you something. If the Chiefs play the way they did last weekend against the Texans and they play that way against the Buffalo Bills, the Bills aren't just going to win the game. They're going to win the game by 3 touchdowns, possibly 4. How about that? I'll hang up and listen.
They did not.
Well, they play better.
That Boost Mobile boldest take from the weekend is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
How was God Bless Football this morning? How did you guys do?
It was bittersweet because we love football so much, and no one loves football more than Billy, that we get sad this time of year because we just have a single game. Like, my Saturday felt empty. I didn't know what to do with myself. There was no college football, and now we just have one football game left, and then it's over. So it's a bittersweet day here on God Bless Football.
Yeah, we have the Pro Bowl games coming up, and we
Yeah.
pretend to care about basketball a little bit, but it's just not the same.
Did you guys have enough games yesterday? I was telling you before that you get addicted to the stimuli of give me all the games, and then next thing you know, you've got a 3:30 start and a 6:30 start. You don't know what to do with yourself at 1 o'clock on a Sunday because you've been binging all season a torrent of games, and now all of a sudden everyone gets out of the way for the 2 showcase games, and rather inexplicably, late at night, Thunder Blazers, the only game on the NBA schedule.
Weird. I like the 3 and 6:30 start. I like having more time to get my stuff done on a Sunday before the game start. I enjoyed it.
I don't like fewer games. I'd prefer week 15 to that weekend.
Unless you get that game, the one you got at 6 o'clock.
I have no complaints about the game. I just want more games. Like at this point, they've spoiled me with this. At this point, the sugary addiction of the action is such that I'd prefer 6 games to the one. I'd prefer 6 o'clock, 6 games in the 4 o'clock window.
If you got the storylines around that AFC Championship,
it was enough. Yeah.
And it delivered. Those two teams always deliver.
Yeah.
It's always the drama. It's like I'll never get sick of hyping that game between those two teams because it always delivers on every single one of the storylines.
This is how we fix the Chiefs fatigue situation, by the way. Someone just hire Spags as your head coach.
We would all prefer just to watch that game again, right?
Yeah.
Like if I told you I'd give you the Super Bowl, Bills Chiefs again, you good?
I'm good with that. But this
I
one's
mean,
pretty
no, then
good.
I would have Bills Chiefs fatigue.
Billy thinks, and we apologize because this was brought up during God Bless Football, that Spag should bring all the secrets to Buffalo.
Can you get me the recycled take sound, please? At Le Batard Show.
It's a good take. I don't care if it's recycled. I mean,
would you be okay with, put it on the poll, Juju, would you be okay with just the Bills and the Chiefs playing again for the Super Bowl and everyone just telling Philadelphia, you know what, next year, well, sorry. You got whatever, we changed the rules.
Or they play again since they won one time each this year. They play again, and then they play Philly. Like, we just... the Pro Bowl's canceled.
But what if Buffalo
a rubber
wins
match?
the next one? Wait a minute.
Well, no,
then it's
because
Buffalo and Philly.
Buffalo beat them in the regular season, so technically this season they're 1-1.
Bills should have forfeited that regular season game and not shown them anything.
Yep.
Right, so the Chiefs should agree to not be in the Super Bowl so they can play the Bills one more time and potentially not be in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
They already just won the
Play
game.
the Bills again, beat them, play the Eagles, beat them, then play the Bengals.
You guys are like on the NFC side of this. I thought the Eagles game was pretty good, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley is really freaking good.
Philadelphia's going to be favored. They are favored, are they not? Is Philadelphia?
I'm not sure. I think the
It's
Chiefs.
Mahomes, no
yeah,
way.
the Chiefs were a 1.5
I think
point
it's 1.5,
favorite.
yeah.
All right, I'd watch that line over the coming week because
Rather than admit that you were wrong.
Yeah,
I'm, with it. I'm down
Keep
with
an
that.
eye on it.
I like that move. Yeah,
I am watching it. It's already up to -2.
I like that move.
I will be right in a week.
Just keep an eye on it.
I will. I'll keep an eye on it.
He's not, guys, come on. He's not saying it. He's just saying watch it.
I happen to agree with Dan. I think people are going to pound Philadelphia. I do. I think people feel
Eventually.
like that's the best team in the NFL.
Just like they pounded the Bills.
once they realize that Jason Kelsey has been devalued in the last 24 hours by this show,
He's petitioning to get into the Hall of Fame like next year, right? Before kind of his career is not invalidated, but somewhat proven. Maybe he wasn't the secret sauce in the
I
Twitch
just
push.
saw it invalidated when I came in today.
Well,
You
no,
guys-
but no one's doing that on air. That's just private talk. Private talk is different than on air talk, Dan. Come on. You know that.
The way that Philadelphia runs the football, where their quarterback is their worst skill position player.
That's how you have to do it, Buffalo, around Josh Allen. And I know the contract's going to make it tough. It's made it tough for Patrick Mahomes, and he's found a way. Also, kind of funny that Patrick Mahomes is on the Chiefs because of a trade the Bills made, and Xavier Worthy cooks them, and Xavier Worthy is on the Chiefs, not the Bills, because of a trade the Bills made. Yeah.
Billy, we did it on air.
Maybe. Problem with today is there's so few football storylines that it's inevitable. We're gonna have the same things, you know.
Right.
We did the
Only 2 games.
We did
right?
the trade thing. We did the.
I disagree.
the Spags
I
thing.
believe that all over content making, people are going from 1 hour to the next, not saying exactly the same thing that they did
Here, Billy, I'll
before.
debate something you said earlier. I don't think Josh Allen just chucked it up. I think he knew there was a receiver down there. I think he's that. If you look at the replay, his eyes are downfield. He's trying to find an open guy. And the pass was like pretty good, too. It just, Kincaid was sort of like awkwardly turning. It was low. You couldn't catch it. And I feel bad for him. I don't think it was anything like the Mark Andrews play.
It honestly speaks to how impressive Josh Allen is because it looks like, to Billy's point, that he's just chucking it up. But no, Kincaid right there.
Let's examine that play for a second, because fine for me the Sam Darnold playoff game where the announcer from on high is just saying from the safety of the press box near the hot dogs and the free media chips, just run, Sam Darnold, even though you're surrounded by cyclones of menace and horror. Just know that what is around you is something that you should see clearly the way that I see it from up here. Ben Solak, didn't he come out and say on that play that Shakir was wide open down the field as Josh Allen ran 12 yards backward in a panic?
Hold up. Did you describe it as cyclones of menace and horror? Wow.
Imagine Dan witnessing a crime and the cop has to take down exactly what happened. He's like, what the hell happened here?
Can you dumb it down?
I would say that Chris Jones is a cyclone of menace and horror in any context that I were to run into him where I was trying to do something that he was trying to prevent me from doing. I'm going to be okay with what it is I've just said there, and if you don't like what I've said, that's fine.
But how tall was the person?
He was just a
one
eye? as high as not a cyclops, a cyclone.
Oh,
of
big
menace.
difference, yeah.
Yeah. When Ben Solak is saying that Shakir is wide open for a first down over there, and Josh Allen is running backwards with his legacy over here, and it's Chris Jones coming up the middle of the field on him.
You do it.
Yeah,
He's getting blitzed, and also it's 4th and 5. So if you throw it behind the line of scrimmage and he doesn't get the first down, the game's over anyway. So I get why he's looking downfield there.
The man must have been 8,000 ants tall.
Go ahead and play the sound of
Force own.
of that announcer screaming and yelling because Sam Darnold couldn't see what could be easily seen from the press box.
He's holding it too long. Just run. Throw it, man. He's holding it too long. Just run. Throw it, man.
It's a great call.
The casual indifference of
Just run.
Yeah, just like it's so easy.
He's holding it too long. Just run. Throw it, man.
I have a bold take on the man standing up in a crowd meme. I'm super into this Super Bowl. The one that we saw recently was one of the best Super Bowls ever. The line is already telling you, keep an eye on it, by the way, that these two teams are very close. The Eagles are a totally different team than since their early season struggles. They've found this new explosive run game where I think you're accurate. It is a bit of hot take because it'll get picked apart, but Jalen Hurts is probably, of all their skill guys, the least impressive, the least good at his job. It's an unbelievable matchup.
The guy who said just run was London Fletcher. I mean, that does give it more credibility, right?
He's holding it too long. Just run. Throw it, man.
I suppose that, London Fletcher played, and he was used to whenever it is that he came into a place, someone would just run away from him. So his life experience is that if someone is being chased, they should just run. But Sam Darnold, tends to throw his way out of situations. I do understand how it is we have all of the answers after someone else has lost the game. But I do want to present to you and the audience again the general stupidity of deciding that kind of game that always delivers with consecutive plays of the refs marking the ball in the wrong place and therefore deciding that game. Now, a number of different things could have happened after that, but at that point, it was Bills 22-21, and as soon as the Bills failed to recover, they never led again.
Right. Yes.
So they lost the game on 2 plays where they couldn't get an inch in a game where they spent a lot of time not being able to get an inch on short yardage runs. Like, that was a historic game situation where the Chiefs were stopping Josh Allen and the Bills in short yardage situations an inordinate number of times. That's not a normal thing that you saw. And on consecutive plays, the decisions being made, and I don't know how much this is being talked about today, because now when the Chiefs win, everyone starts talking about every one penalty, every one call, how it is they're favored, how it is in the last 12 games the other team always has more penalties they do, how it is on that 4th and 5 play, that there was a flag on the screen until Kincaid dropped the ball, and then that flag was gone, never mind. We don't know what that call was, but I'm sure that it's just that call is the Chiefs go directly to the Super Bowl. The flag is just a referee comes up and accidentally says in front of everybody, "I'm sorry, Bills, you've been eliminated." This flag means the Chiefs and Taylor Swift get to play Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. It's how it's being received. Do you or do you not see the stupidity in doing the measurements that way, where it's two guys, linesmen running at each other, and they both got their foot in a different spot, and that's how we're going to spot the football?
I mean, I'm not sure. The stupidity that I see is the Bills coach running the same exact fourth down play that he ran 4 plays before. That's the stupidity that I see. I mean, seriously, that's a big moment. As you pointed out, they're up by a point. They're on the road. They're trying to put the 2-time Super Bowl champions away. That's what and you have to get that. Patrick Mahomes always gets that, and Josh Allen doesn't always get that. Can you question the way they're marking the football? Of course, but that's the way they've been doing it forever.
But he got it.
He got it.
Oh,
It's
but he didn't.
I want to know the conversation when these two line judges are running at each other and they're 2 yards apart. Do they just have a debate? Like, no, I got this one. No, I promise, I saw it. No, Frank, I'm telling you, I saw it. It's right here.
made one Frank, huh?
Yeah.
They got to be a Frank.
We have a fine situation. You mentioned
Good
London
guess.
Fletcher, and it confused everybody. It wasn't
Yeah,
London Fletcher,
I already
so that goes
messed
to
up.
the Venmo fine bucket.
Yeah, how much do I owe?
I don't have the.
And
Is
you're
that
right.
a name wrong or a mistake?
If London said it, it would have meant more. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was Ben Lieber. It means nothing.
I think it was.
It was also not Ben
Ooh,
Lieber.
that's
Is that two fines? Was it Pete Burchett?
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notre Dame linebacker.
Oh, he played linebacker.
It's not cash anymore, Stugotz.
Yeah, I got to do the
Is it
QR
opposite to
code.
him?
I got to do something.
just
Mike
two-
will show me how.
Ben Lieber, that's $2.
Mike, you're going to have to come
Yeah,
in
we got a
here.
QR code.
It's so easy, guys. Venmo's very easy to use. You guys know how to do it. Stop making it seem like it's not easy.
I paid my
It's
Venmo
very
fine.
easy.
Actually,
Right.
if you go into your transaction history, you know the account, so you can just send it.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Just two
$2.
clicks. Boom,
$2.
boom. It's done.
Who is keeping an eye on whether Stugotz is paying these fines or not, or whether he is just faking his way through pretending to pay the fines?
I'm watching the line.
I feel like we're being watchdogs right now.
Keep an eye on that line. Let's see how much that moves during the course of the week. You guys say that the Chiefs, you should not bet against Patrick Mahomes, but all season long, I have seen Chiefs lines that are super small, including in that game last night, where they told you, the money told you, if that game's played on a neutral field, the money says Buffalo's better, that Buffalo is the better team because the home field is a 3-point advantage. And pretty consistently, people walk away from betting against or doubting Patrick Mahomes with the feeling of, why did I do that? Why was I such an idiot that I would think this is the year that they were vulnerable?
They are inevitable because they're not just always going to make the right plays. They're not just always going to, on both sides of the ball, do what they have to do to win the game. But also, they got the friendly whistle, too. And they've had it for like 7 years. Like, it's just...
In every game.
It's a bummer.
Just one time, I want them to get screwed. Well, they did a couple years ago. Remember
it was the right call, and Patrick
got
Mahomes
screwed.
didn't shut up about it.
Yes, right.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Are the rest of you supporting some sort of movement that calls it the Frankie Louvu rule of just keep at the goal line, jumping over the tush push, or trying to get an offsides call because you're trying to perfectly time the other team getting an inch in a rugby scrum? I said this last night, Stugotz, and I do think it's really dumb. There are 11 minutes of actual action in a 3-hour football game.
But the action is great.
I know, but so much of the 11 minutes is let's try and get this push on a rugby scrum on 2nd and 1, on 3rd and inches. Let's do this 2 or 3 times and just let clock run out, because all we're doing is let's just have all the fat guys push in this direction and see if we can get half a yard.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little confused by it, because you always speak to the gladiator spectacle of football and the gridiron. You're, a cyclone of menace and horror. You're so good with words, and there is nothing more true about that than a short yardage situation where it's will against will, mano a mano.
You like watching that? You like watching 4th and short for an inch?
I was on Championship Sunday.
Yeah.
Every single short yardage situation was captivating because you believe that the team could actually stop it. In the regular season, bodies don't find the willpower on the opposite side to put up a fight. Now, Washington was doing very creative things, trying to time the snap down, and it was very clearly getting to Philadelphia, so much so that they switched up the cadence, which led to hilarity. Basically a 15-minute down.
The thing is, though, Mike, I'm watching The Will and The Gladiator and all of that stuff, and then it's an old guy deciding he's just going to put the ball wherever he thinks it should have gone.
We'll fix that part.
Yeah.
We will?
Yeah, I do think so. I think in our lifetimes we're going to fix that.
How about Josh Allen? Will he, is he still going to be around? Or
He won't be in his prime.
no?
Do you feel bad for him today? Because he played well enough to win the game, as he has. He's lost 4 times to them, and his statistics are better than they are when he's 4-1 or 3-1 against them in the regular season.
Yeah, I'm sick for him. Because, like I said, he'd be Mahomes. It's not a championship. It's not a Super Bowl appearance. And it's kind of like Dan Marino in that everyone realizes this guy's the friggin' man. He's awesome. He's not the problem. It's everything else, and everything else is largely somebody else. One individual that is just a little bit better at it, just a little bit more clutch, even though he's been pretty damn clutch and he's made the throws. His surrounding cast hasn't been as clutch.
I can't tell you what a tribute and honor it is that the Buffalo Bills have somebody who is very clearly and obviously the MVP of the league, and the strategy is still, let me hand the ball off to James Cook here because I don't want that other quarterback to be having the ball too much. It's you want McDermott fired, right? Didn't you come in here today with McDermott bye-bye? He has this, this all-time talent at quarterback, and he's been unable to get them a Super Bowl. And in that spot, again, where it's 4th and inches and you're up a point and you're trying to close out the Chiefs on the road to finally get yourself to a Super Bowl, you don't realize how big that play call is. You don't realize the size of the moment there. Like, Dan, you can't just run the same play you just ran. You can't do it. There's too much at risk there. And so I think Belichick should take over that job. I think there's still a chance for Belichick to win this battle against Brady. If he goes to Buffalo, okay, and he is the guy that gets Josh Allen over the hump past Kansas City and to the Super Bowl and then wins it, forget it. He wins.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was really following the take, and I really liked it before we went off into crazy land with Belichick. But the McDermott thing, like it is something that you have to consider. No, we've seen sports teams realize pretty emphatically, we're just not good enough. What are we going to do to drastically change this situation? All Buffalo did in its offseason to drastically change its situation was get rid of offensive talent. There are recent examples. Grady Little being, not brought back. Paul Maurice being and a Matthew Tkachuk trade for the Florida Panthers because they realize in a small window, we're never going to get past those guys unless we do something drastic. Buffalo is at that point where they have to do something drastic.
Are they?
Because they keep doing the same thing. What is the very definition of insanity?
Okay, are they, though? Because you guys are telling me, a team I know to be good, you're telling me that I need to do something drastic about the fact that they lost by 3 points in a game where the ball wasn't spotted correctly. They need to do something drastic when Kincaid doesn't catch a ball that he needs to catch.
Yes, but I would say that losing 4 times in a row to one quarterback is drastic. We've never seen it
But
before.
they also have beaten him in the regular season. I think that's what's so frustrating is it's not like he's 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes. It's like they've won in the regular season.
It's crazy.
In the playoffs, they can't. The playoffs. That's why they should hire Spags to cut him off at the knees, and then you have Spags win-win for everyone.
You say do something drastic, but I thought getting rid of Stephon Diggs was doing something.
It wasn't
drastic.
enough.
But in the wrong direction,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
who
Like
are
they
you
want,
bringing
we
in?
want drastic drastic addition, not
Okay,
drastic
but if
subtraction.
I-
that still somehow they ended up in virtually the same spot.
I would say that it helps to have Patrick Mahomes because I'm watching an interview with DeAndre Hopkins playing in his first Super Bowl, and I'm like, what's the difference at this point between DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper? What's the difference between those two people? Because the Bills got Josh Allen something like what the Chiefs got. I mean, I would say I'd rather have Amari Cooper right now than DeAndre Hopkins. Nobody wanted DeAndre Hopkins the last couple of years.
Including the Chiefs the last couple of weeks. They haven't thrown the ball 2 times.
Right.
I guess
He's just an extra weapon in case he's there for funsies, honestly. If they want to kind of
He's there for a ring, yeah.
Exactly. If they want to shake things up a little bit, if they get a lot of injuries, they have DeAndre Hopkins. But yesterday Travis Kelce had 4 targets. They're not even using all the weapons they have. That's how many weapons they have on that team.
I just don't understand where the Bills go when they have their postseason meeting and they all get together and their board of directors try to figure out, all right, what went wrong? The same thing went wrong again. Run it back? Like, extend our record of being the only team to lose to this team this many times consecutively and just hope that the math will work out for us in the postseason? At a certain point, you have to try to take control of your own destiny and do something about it. And so at least you can lay your head down at night and say, well, I tried something new this time.
They should honestly probably bolster their defense, which is not what people want to hear or see
Doesn't
for Josh
help that
Allen.
one of their corners went out with a concussion, and then they were not able to play man coverage for the rest of the game.
But that is McDermott's specialty, is defense, and their defense is lousy.
What about the point that Jessica just made that we skipped right past? It would seem that your best corner against Mahomes would kind of be important. And once he would go out, I suspect there are all sorts of ways that Andy Reid is taking advantage of that we don't understand. That last play that they converted on 3rd and 9, that's not coverable. They had 3 guys sweeping across the field, running interference so that whoever was coverage, the linebacker just had no chance to do anything with what that play was. If you're playing with your backups, if they've had secondary issues all year, if the Lions season falls apart because, God, look what happened to their defense, everyone's injured, I'm asking when they're that close and it's a spot that's the difference, what's the drastic thing you would like them to do? You say Stephon Diggs, getting rid of him is in the wrong direction. You want them to trade for a number 1 who is better than Shakir?
Yeah. Certainly.
That would help. Yep.
I would.
Maybe let's put some shoes
But
on Matt Collins.
they're not having any problem with
He had a
offense.
game,
They're not having problems with offense. They're fine on offense. They scored 28 points every time they play the Chiefs.
Josh Allen was a little YOLO-y in the first quarter.
Agreed?
Old Josh
Yes.
is back yesterday early on.
Yeah.
But he fixed it, I guess.
The answer was do more. Do
Okay.
something different. Do change it up. Don't have the talent overall go down in one offseason when you're trying to chase this team like it did.
You think Matt Collins leaves the stadium in that outfit, or he had a backup?
He has to have a backup.
Because he looked ridiculous.
He did.
You can't do your post game after that game wearing that outfit. That's not something that you can do. That catch he made, that game was a lot of fun, and I believe that whatever disappointment there is about that game today is only because people have some Chiefs fatigue that I'm hearing articulated more than I'm used to. Hearing winners get pulled down, even though we did plenty of this with the Patriots.
Wait, so what should the Bills do, Dan?
I just don't think they have to do anything drastic. I think they're pretty close. Like, I think they're obviously a good team, indisputably a good team. And, everyone's losing to Mahomes. There aren't front office moves that can be made by anybody that's topping Mahomes the last 3 years.
I also want to give credit to Kansas City as we just try to wonder aloud.
We
This is
always give them
frustrating.
credit. We don't need to give them more credit.
We just picked apart a true point that, top corner was out injured. Let's not omit the times that Patrick Mahomes had a really bad ankle and he still found a way to not only beat them, but beat Philadelphia in a Super Bowl. Let's not forget the time that he got knocked out of a divisional round game against Cleveland and Chad Henne had to make the plays down the stretch. They also got the benefit of a targeting penalty that didn't go against them. That should have been a touchdown. That might have changed the result of that game.
But to Dan's point, like, if they did do nothing, it would be defensible because they were that fourth down call away from being scoring in the game and winning the game. And that was a very bad call, I thought. I thought he had the first down pretty obviously. And then you're talking about a completely different outcome in this game, and you're like, wow, what a great job they've done finally getting over the hump to beat Mahomes.
You could argue doing nothing and just hoping that your luck changes is a move, is a calculated risk. But I would say that these are desperate times now for Buffalo. You look at the playing style of your quarterback. You look at all the comps. He's constantly compared to Cam Newton, a guy that big with that big of a frame that leans so much on his athleticism. Granted, he can throw the ball, but we're nearing the end of the window where we can count on that same sort of physical advantage for him. So if these are indeed desperate times, There's a cliche about that and what it calls for.
Billy was saying earlier that the Chiefs have a whole lot of weapons, and I don't think they do. I think their skill guys are worse. Among the last 4 teams, I didn't like their skill guys. Kelsey in this state.
Well, he was great a week ago.
I understood, but in this state, over whatever have been the last 10 games of Kelsey, okay, at some point, that body is going to break down with that kind of wear and tear. And so he can do it occasionally, 117 of their 177 passing yards, but consistently over the last 10 games, he has not done it. And their other skill guys, meh.
But it doesn't matter. Like they have so many options that they're serviceable enough for this system. Where Juju Smith-Schuster gets 60 yards in an AFC Championship
Juju
game.
Smith-Schuster was their second leading receiver
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl. Behind
Hollywood
Travis
Brown
Kelce
is there,
2 years ago.
getting more receptions and more targets than Travis Kelce. DeAndre Hopkins is on the team. He'd probably be like a 2 or 3 on most teams. He gets one reception.
I've been saying this since Friday, and I'm not real sure why it is that people aren't, just the numbers of this are eluding people. Give me all of their big plays this season. Like, yes, they're great at 17-play drives, and they're great at converting 3rd and 5s, but they are no longer the offense of, like, I'm watching this team, and they can beat me at any point because anyone is going 40 yards or 50 yards on a play. They don't have that player. Worthy's not that player. He's super fast. He's done that once or twice this season. They don't have what Philadelphia has, which, your 17-play drive, here's a 1-play drive.
But who cares?
Here on the first play of the game.
But they're winning.
Exactly.
Dan.
They lost one actual game this year. The last game of the regular season didn't count. They didn't have any of their players playing. The only game they lost was to the Bills this year. So, like, you might not like how they're doing it, but they're doing it more dominant than they have in other seasons, just a different style. They've adapted.
You say who cares? I'm simply objecting to you telling me how much talent the Chiefs have. It's how much talent the Chiefs have at quarterback on offense.
Well, and on defense.
On offense.
Right.
On offense, it's how much talent the Chiefs have at quarterback. That was their first 30-point game of the entire season. Please look up for me all the other teams that haven't had a 31-point game this season. Like, look up
They're all bad. They're all bad teams. The good teams don't get away with this.
There is no such
But
thing.
we're arguing for style points, and that determines what a good team is. The Dolphins scored 70 points in a game last year, and they didn't do it. So, like, what are we like actually arguing here?
I'm arguing what you're telling me, that their skill guys are that great. They have so many weapons. No,
They have enough
They have a
weapons.
depth of weapons. They don't have superstars, but they have enough serviceable pieces that they get the job done with.
Understood, but you're telling me that Shakir's not a good enough number 1 receiver, that the Bills need to get Josh Allen more help. And what I'm telling you is if they gave him the Chiefs' help, you'd be like, eh.
Here's the list of
Or
teams,
if you gave
Dan.
him Spags.
The list of teams that did not score more than 30 points in a game. The New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, the New England Patriots, the New York Jets, and the Kansas City Chiefs. One of these things is not like the other.
I get that Patrick Mahomes is now doing the thing that the Patriots did, which is it doesn't actually matter what the pieces are. That they can just go get whatever.
Well, we know he could do it the other way. We've seen him do it with Tyreek Hill. So we know he has that in him, and now he's doing it a different way. As Billy said, that team in general is kind of rolling with whatever they have to do to win football games. And so now it's run and play defense.
But Mike is making drastic changes to a team that's
You have to.
17-3 in the postseason with Mahomes.
Well, but the strategy you want is just hope the Chiefs fall apart. And then you can get past them eventually.
No, it's not the strategy. What I'm saying is everyone in that sport is strategizing to beat their know how to win. And nobody can do it, whatever their strategies are. Like you're asking me for a strategy that doesn't exist. Like, they have something at quarterback that no one else has.
But 2 quarterbacks have done it. Joe Burrow did it. Tom Brady did it. 2 quarterbacks have been able to beat him in the postseason.
It doesn't mean that they don't lose. I'm saying that these 2 teams look the same to me.
Right.
And one of them, you all know, has a quarterback who's going to win at the end, and the other one has a history of losing that goes back 40 years.
I just hope that they're thinking about it as much as we are. Yeah. That, like, if
you wonder
if the bull chase, and I don't think it's not exactly not bold of them to decide, let's keep this unit together. I actually think that's kind of brave, because 4 years in that sport is a very long time. 4 years being told you're not good enough by the same team, losing pretty much the same way in the postseason, I mean, that would wear on you. And I just hope that it's not, just assumed, let's just run it back. Let's bring everybody back. We'll finally get these guys, because you're already in uncharted territory in terms of not being able to get those guys.
Belichick would definitely take that job.
I mean, he would.
Dan, we made a prediction on God Bless Football that Stephon Diggs is going to be on the Chiefs in 2 seasons.
The problem and the argument
Lost
that
over
I
Belichick.
would try to make on your behalf of they have to change something is that's as well as a football team can ever protect the football for an entire season, and they still lost. Like, they were playing a fairly conservative style for Josh Allen. That's grading on a curve, obviously, but it was all minimized mistakes. And you can't account for the mistake that the line judge is going to make when he runs in on 4th and 1 and he spots the ball in the wrong spot. Like, there's no accounting for that. You guys want me to put
Somehow the Chiefs still would have won the game. I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's pretty much
even if they got it right.
That's pretty much where we are with the Chiefs, where if they indeed lose this game in the future, we will expect them to win it the next day somehow because the league's overturned it, or something has happened the following day that changes the result we just saw, because they're in this rarefied air of they're always going to win. We know they're going to win. We fear they're going to win. On 3rd and 9, of course, they're going to convert to end the game so we don't get to see Josh Allen again.
The Bills should hire Spags.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal
Chris,
idea. We're
that
so
is
happy
such
someone
a
Think
good
about
idea
it.
about
Yeah.
you. I can't believe no one else had that. I can't believe that you're the first person I've ever heard argue that Spags, addition by subtraction.
Because he comes in, he knows the Chiefs.
You see the game a different way, my friend.
Dials up a blitz against Patrick Mahomes. See how he handles that situation at the end of the game. You
I'm
know?
honored to share the studio space with you.
You're brilliant. I've underestimated your brilliance. That is, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm not wrong about the point spread, but I am wrong about saying that the Bills don't have to make drastic changes. They have to go with Chris Cody's brilliant pioneering idea of hire Spags.
The point is profound, because he has a cock.
I think that could have gone without saying. Chris or Spags?
right.
It's up to 2.5.
Let me play some sound here.
Give it a couple of days.
Let me play some sound here from last night. My father, I learned this on air with everyone else. He's been saying a version of this story for several years, and it turns out that there's a plot twist at the end. But let's hear, Papi was bringing it last night. He was eating cashews by the shovelful.
That's what he does, yeah.
And he was just filled with a lot of energy, and so he decided to talk for some reason about former Rams defensive end Fred Dreyer. Can you tell us? I want me to hear the story that you're always telling people about Fred Dreyer, the old Rams defensive end.
Fred Dreyer, that guy. Oh, I tell you one thing, I was impressed. The guy used to play for, what was it, the Rams? Was it defensive end or an offensive? Yeah.
Yes.
And after his football career was over, he went on TV and he went into the business of selling salmons. You know, I guess he had a salmon product, a line of whatever. But the guy used to eat salmon. That's all the guy ate, you know, and he was in real good shape. His cholesterol level was in tip-top condition, and he was, all his vital signs, they were right on. And I said, oh, my God, this guy is going to live forever. And he used to go on TV, on national TV, and shows and advertise his products, you know. And one day I get up in the morning, and I look at the news, and the guy dropped dead. I said, how the hell this guy could drop dead? You know, he's such a healthy nut, you know. Well, that happens. So I stopped eating salmon. That's it. I don't need salmon anymore.
Let's clip
Get that out
Por
of
si
here.
acaso, no? Por si acaso. Let's push that clip out.
Did anyone kill Fred Dreyer?
My father did.
Papi did. Yeah,
He's
he's
still
alive.
with us.
Over years, right? Dan, this is a story he's told over
Wait a
decades.
minute.
Does your dad have Venmo?
Is
That's
Fred
a
Fred
$50
Dreyer
fine.
still with us?
78 years old.
Spring chicken.
Wait a minute.
Let's go. Get Papi
Let's
back
go
on.
live to my father right now and get whatever information we need. He's going to be stunned by this. Papi, can you hear me out there? He's fiddling
He's
with his
trying to turn the
microphone.
mic on. Someone help him,
There's
guys.
just an on and an off, Papi.
Look at everyone scurrying.
Come on, GQ.
A team of people are going running toward the Pat Riley statue.
Thanks for helping, Taylor.
Papi, I'm being told that Fred Dreyer's still alive.
Nah, I don't believe that. My source tell me that he dropped dead a number of years ago. Check it out good.
Dad,
Check it good, guys.
Dad, you've been saying for years that Fred Dreyer dropped dead jogging after eating some salmon, that he had a bad ticker, and it's not true.
Well, he had a bad ticker, okay?
Looks like we can
You
have
cannot blame it on the salmon. That was bad salmon. That was a bad ticker.
Papi. We're having salmon for dinner now. It looks like.
Dad,
Oh, no, I stay away from salmon.
Oh, it's back on the menu.
Dad, he's not dead. Dad, you've been saying for years that Fred Dreyer is
Google
dead.
the guy. You Google the guy. You will see what happened when you Google the guy.
Google him good. Mike has said that the Chiefs can't keep getting away with this. And the thing I want to ask you guys is, can CBS keep getting away with this, what I'm about to say, which is they promoted yesterday Matlock with Kathy Bates as America's new favorite show. And I just don't believe that's true. I believe that it might be popular and that it might be good, but I believe that a lot of people can claim to be America's new favorite show, and there's no way to quantify. Well, there are ways to quantify that, but ratings are so difficult these days that 10 people can make that claim. Is Matlock indeed that popular?
I think it probably does track. It probably does fit that criteria until FBI:CIA comes out.
Right.
So they're just trying to say it while they can.
Yeah, you can say things like fastest growing show where you can play with the math a little bit, but to call yourself America's new favorite show, you need to back that claim up.
It is
And they
the
have
second
numbers.
most watched entertainment show on broadcast TV.
So that would make it. So what's first?
Probably an older show.
I'm
America's
looking it up,
new. So you can claim that.
Yeah,
Well, CBS always
CBS
does.
that,
Right.
and it's always
Yes.
quantifiable because the ratings bear it out.
One of the things they were also advertising is just simply a show called Ghosts. Just Ghosts.
What's that about?
I'm
Sam
listening.
Darnold?
Play that sound again of Sam Darnold and the announcers so we can ask Stugotz why he thought London Fletcher was calling a Vikings-Rams game in Arizona.
He's holding it too long. Just run. Throw it, man.
I don't have an answer.
Do you
man.
think that's what London... It's my fault for not calling you on it. It didn't sound like London Fletcher.
He's holding it too long. Just run. Throw it, man.
That didn't sound like a linebacker.
I was
right?
trying to make sure you were paying attention. You
Okay.
weren't. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. You got me. Speaking of television, I'm curious what you guys make of, in 2024, the Tom Brady roast was the most watched thing on Netflix of any kind. Netflix's stock is surging. The last quarter, they made a ton of money, and it's at least in part because NFL, Tyson, Tom Brady roast. They are getting in the game with so much money
WWE as well.
that they're looking to change. They've been looking to change television and make Matlock and America's favorite new show be a thing of the past. That is one hell of a resurgence from sharing passwords and some of the problems that they were dealing with in during the pandemic. Netflix having that kind of year where the stock is surging with the last quarter that was record breaking because of live sports is super interesting.
Imagine that. They were catching L's left and right, doing the same thing over and over again, and they weren't getting the results, and they had to do something drastic.
So, do you guys have a suggestion on what this drastic thing is?
We gave you
I
two.
like the replacing the head coach. Then.
Bags.
Replacing a head coach who's won 70% of his, 80% of his games?
Dan, it's a guy. They fired his defensive coordinator. They got rid of his offensive coordinator. Like, what's next? It's got to be him, right? And if Bill Belichick is out there, and I do believe this is a job he would leave North Carolina for, who
Separate
wouldn't?
the two things because one of them
Right.
is plausible and the other one is.
I'm
like
not
hot
certain,
take.
Mike. No, it's not a hot take. I'm not certain. Like, I'm not certain Belichick would pass up on the opportunity if offered to him
The Bills
to
are-
coach Josh Allen.
It's just two separate conversations. You don't need to put them together.
You will not find another team, I do not believe, that has what Buffalo and Josh Allen have, which is they keep winning a playoff game every year, but they never get to the Super Bowl.
It's crazy.
Like that's not something that you see a lot of. And so what Stugotz is saying there is, I'm guessing that you're firing a coach who would have more one-loss success than any coach who would usually get fired in any situation. And he's got to have the highest winning percentage in Bill's history over even Marv Levy, given how much he's won in Buffalo, yes?
It's kind of similar to Marty Schottenheimer, where he kept getting, making playoff runs with the Chargers, but could never get to the Super Bowl. And eventually, and I think it was after an AFC Championship game in which they lost, eventually they fired him.
They hired Steve Belichick.
They went 15-1 too, but Marty Schottenheimer wasn't running into the same one problem at quarterback every year in Kansas City.
Right.
Wait, hold on a second. So if Bill Belichick leaves North Carolina, like Stugotz is reporting he's going to do, to go to Buffalo, is Steve the head coach already?
At Carolina.
Yeah, because wasn't that set up for him to take over when Bill was done? If Bill never coaches a game, does Steve still get the gig immediately?
Let me rummage under my desk. Hang on.
Can you do me the favor, Chris Cody, of telling me what McDermott's winning percentage is at in Buffalo?
Regular season, 656. Yeah. Mark Levy, 615. In the, what'd I say? You said Mark. Oh, my bad. It's Marv.
Marv, yeah.
In the playoffs,
Don't do that one.
Marv Levy, had over 500. McDermott 7-7 in the playoffs.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Are we still making Marvs at Le Batard Show? Because
it's been a while, it feels like. Yeah.
Marvin's, naming a baby Marvin, calling a baby Marvin doesn't feel quite right. Let's see what we have under Mike Ryan's desk here.
Oh,
boy.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
What's the question?
Yeah, someone has to ask him something.
Yeah, the coach in waiting.
If Belichick leaves now, does Steve Belichick automatically get the Carolina job?
I think the implication is Belichick has to retire. If he takes another job, Steve goes with him.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Implication.
That's what he said. He's reporting an implication as our North Carolina insider.
Legally binding.
It seems flimsy. It doesn't seem terribly.
I don't think you would have given Feinbaum that answer.
It doesn't seem very. It doesn't have a lot of nutrients, that particular answer. But it would make sense that Belichick would have to coach an actual game before his son gets handed the program.
Well, he signed the other day.
He should have held out.
I understand that you guys can point out a number of legal discrepancies here. I'm going to go ahead and say,
Stu, you're your own worst enemy here.
I'm not bringing it up.
You're the first guy to the plausible take. Like, should they look at the head coach thing? And you're muddying the waters with this Belichick thing. Like, you have the good take.
I said Spags as well, but here's another take. Okay?
Wow, Spags.
We're getting dangerously close.
inspired.
We're getting dangerously close to Andy Reid being the guy they call the greatest coach in NFL history. Belichick may want to come back and stop that. I'm just saying.
Marv Harrison Jr. Doesn't feel right.
Wow.
no one else is saying anywhere in the American sports media that you fire the head coach who has a near 70% winning percentage because you need to get over the hump and do something drastic. And the drastic thing would be firing a coach with that kind of winning percentage.
But no one thinks the winning percentage is because of him. Is the biggest thing.
I'm never really impressed with him. Like his decision making in some of these games has been hot and cold. I don't know, dude. Like I just hope, like I said, I hope they're having the conversation.
Okay.
And I hope it's not just like, yeah, we're going to run it back, right? Yeah. Because they're running it back, right, looking to a room full of people that have experienced the first type of successive failure in NFL history. That seems insane to me.
So you say, though, that I'm never really impressed, and all I've been doing for 2 weeks is articulating some form at 56 years old, covering sports for a while, of just complete confusion as to how that quarterback can be coached to never turn the ball over. So you say you're not impressed, and I'm saying, good Lord, on his watch, Josh Allen went from someone I thought was terrible at quarterback to running a team that has fewer turnovers than any in the sport, and you're telling me, no, that linesman's got to call that differently. McDermott, unimpressed. And I'm like, okay. And it's hard to get past Mahomes by a yard.
I think I know the answer to this, but when there is an important play that needs to be called for the Buffalo Bills, most times it's Josh do something, and the ball stays in Josh's hands.
Yeah.
We know with Patrick Mahomes, even at this age, his go-to guy is Travis Kelce. Now, I think possibly the go-to guy for Josh Allen right now is Khalil Shakir, but Patrick Mahomes' guy is an all-timer. I feel like, yeah, no bad ideas. Tyreek Hill, like T. Higgins, anything. Who's available? Who's unavailable? Let's get crazy. Let's throw everything for Justin Jefferson. Like something crazy, something good, something game-changing.
All right, so there was an anonymous executive quoted as saying the Patriots are interested in a division trade for Tyreek Hill if Tyreek Hill is indeed available. You'd be welcoming, again, because you've got the same problem. You got to go to Kansas City and beat Mahomes. You'd be welcoming, again, what you did with Stephon Diggs. The drastic change after Stephon Diggs was, you know how we make Josh a better quarterback? We mix it up and give him no number one receivers. We give him a bunch of different options, the way Mahomes has a bunch of different options, and we get him to play a more careful game. Now you're going back. So we're doing what teams do all the time organizationally when they can't figure something out. We'll go from a coach who's tough to a coach who's a player's coach to back to a coach who's tough. So now we're going back to the number one Stephon Diggs disgruntled receiver who might be available.
You keep trying until you find a combination that works.
Okay, but Mahomes is the problem. It's not in your locker room. The problem is in another locker room.
So you give up?
You don't give up. You can keep changing. I just say tinkering versus drastic. I say they're obviously close. Like they're indisputably right there. And you're telling me they need another number one receiver. I'm like, okay, welcome Tyreek Hill in there. Make sure he doesn't get 1,000 yards. See how that goes.
Okay, I understand mentioning Tyreek Hill as a possible solution is inflammatory, and you've done well to seize on that. But I'm saying we're close. We're right there is something that franchise has famously dealt with its entire history and what it's known for. And I would say they need to have a conversation, ownership on down, buck stops here. What can we do to make sure we're not even getting a version of what we got in the early 90s?
You're right about this because the Heat were close and then they weren't. And it happened while we were watching them be close. Sometimes that's not quite enough. You need something else to put you over the top. But it's really difficult to do what the Panthers did.
What the Celtics did.
Yes. That's what the Celtics
make that move.
The Celtics did what it is that you had to do, and it was unpopular. I just don't know when you say drastic change. You sort of have to tell me what it is because firing a coach with that winning percentage would be drastic.
Why are we crazy for thinking they should think about changing the coach or get him more offensive weapons? Like, they need to do something.
Well, they need someone on defense. Like Max Crosby would be a guy.
Well, they have to pay Rousseau, who might be in the conversation for highest paid guy on the defensive line in the league now.
Miami guy.
What I would give to be as close as the Bills.
Oh, yeah, just once. Yes.
It's terrible. This was the
hell.
Steelers' experience when Tom Brady and in my head I was like, well, as soon as Tom Brady retires, it's going to be wide open. Any team can win the AFC when that happens. When the Patriots dynasty ends, who knows? We'll have the Texans in a Super Bowl. The Steelers will win another Super Bowl. The limit is endless.
It's easy to say we're right there because Buffalo's not alone in saying we're right there. Hell, a team that missed the playoffs in Cincinnati can argue, and they've actually had success in the postseason against Kansas City.
And Baltimore.
We're right there.
Yeah.
Baltimore. We're right there. Mm-hmm. You got to keep those guys away because the gulf between those teams is shrinking, and you have to chase down the greatest of all time potentially.
You trade Tyreek Hill, right? Like, given the option, you trade Tyreek Hill today.
I think it's time to get away from that. No, that wouldn't even be the target. I'm just throwing names out there.
The Dolphins. They want Tyreek Hill, you can have him, right?
It seems like it's a problem.
To Buffalo, though?
Better too early than too late with him, right?
I mean, it's already too late.
I know, but that's why you got to do it now before it's really too late. Because now you're like, no, the wrist thing. No, he had a knee thing. Knee procedure. Yeah, no, see, no.
What do you want from Mike Evans?
He's going to be back next year.
What can I give you for Mike Evans?
You guys.
Let's make a deal.
You guys.
Mike Evans.
That's an interesting piece, Dan. Mike Evans.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, everybody would want him.
They're all interesting.
Thank you for your
Bills,
contribution.
Mike
Justin
Evans.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
Maybe the quarterback's the problem. Let's trade Josh Allen.
Oh, I like that.
A king's ransom you could get for Josh Allen.
Totally reshape.
That's
it.
drastic.
There
That's
are
drastic.
no bad
You
ideas here.
said no one was giving you drastic suggestions.
That's
drastic, Dan.
There are no bad ideas here. What I'm saying is, what
Bills could be
cannot
a
happen
quarterback
there
away.
is everyone just hopping on the bus, having a team meeting. All right, we'll get them next year. That cannot happen.
Do you think that if the Bills called the Chiefs and said, we will trade you Josh Allen for Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs would say no.
I 100% believe that.
You guys, the reason that is both a ridiculous thing to offer me today and also something that I think is funny to look at, that I think gets ignored. When you guys keep doing this, they need to do something. They need to do something. The way the culture of sports argument is that we find blame, criticize, and the next day is not about celebrating the winner. It's about blaming the loser.
Yeah.
I really think that it ignores the historic greatness of Patrick Mahomes that you guys keep telling me need to do something when it's what every franchise was saying when Michael Jordan played, and it's what every franchise was saying when Tom Brady played, and there's a new one here now. On need to do something, oh, can't do anything, we're going to lose every single time, no matter what we do.
Burrow for Allen?
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Dan, he is amongst a handful of coaches who have won a Super Bowl and a national championship. He was away from the game for a year, and you know it almost killed him because no one loves the game more than him. But Dan, that all changed because the Raiders needed a young coach, and a young coach they got. Their fifth head coach since moving to Las Vegas in 2020. And Dan, just like that, make no mistake about it, Pete Carroll is back. Happy for him, aren't you?
He seems like a very nice man.
He does.
Everyone seems to like Pete Carroll.
Yep.
That's hard in sports.
You're right. Who doesn't like him?
There aren't a lot of negative
He made that
things.
choking sign to a kicker. That kicker probably doesn't like him.
Stojakovic?
Yeah.
Yes, that was...
Stojanovic, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
I think you have him as Pager.
Yeah, you're right. You got it. That's a fine for me. You're right.
Venmo fine. Bills Chiefs, game of inches. Every sports talk radio show is going to start today with Was Allen Short? And open up the phone lines for hours. WGR in Buffalo, WHB in Kansas City, 20 shares. Congratulations. What a day for those two stations. Oh, bad day for Philly. They won. I mean, what do they do, WIP?
Well, they've got another
Bunch
2
of
weeks.
phonies,
No,
yeah.
they've got 2 weeks. What do you mean phonies?
I mean, they wanted to fire Nick Sirianni. Now he's the greatest coach in Eagles history. Get out of here. Zach Ertz leads the league. It's still got it.
Does he?
He does.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show, Juju. Does Zach Ertz lead the league in still got it?
Pete Carroll is a young 73. Patrick Mahomes, 4-0 versus Josh Allen in the playoffs. You know what that means, Dano?
I do not.
It means he has his number. This isn't a rivalry until Josh Allen wins in the playoffs. Sean McDermott, do it against the Chiefs. Josh Allen, do it against the Chiefs. If Saquon Barkley wins a Super Bowl for Philadelphia, never, ever mention Charles Barkley in the same sentence with him ever again.
Wow.
I mean, I'm serious. He becomes the most famous Barkley in the history of Philadelphia. And there's Matt as well. He's not a contender.
Greg Cody says that Saquon should be the MVP of the league. It is pretty impressive
carried
to
away.
watch a guy. It's okay. Matt Barkley is not someone that you'd put in the discussion. You got carried away. You got me first time. I know Barkley's your friend, Dan. I'm going to get you here. But then the second time with Matt Barkley is where you got carried away. It's the same thing you did with the Belichick argument. You had a good take that would have been perfectly fine by itself, and then you made it a little worse.
I mean, Championship Monday, Dana.
I know. It's crazy around here today.
Saquon, though. Wow.
I saw Jess was arguing with Willow. They had an argument in the other room.
Wow. People
She's
going
on
crazy.
a diet.
Cranky.
There should be an MVP for in between the regular season and the Super Bowl. A playoff MVP.
I like that idea.
Thank you. When it matters, right?
Uh-huh. That's what you can call it.
When it matters.
Yes, the whim.
WIM.
The When It Matters Award. Yes, it would be won by Patrick Mahomes. Every down, they could just keep awarding it on every 3rd and 5 that he runs
More
for 6
or
yards.
less prestigious than Walter Payton Man of the Year.
What was that weird outlier year where it was Evan McPherson?
Wow. He could win. He would have won it. You're right. Kansas City Chiefs do it in the Super Bowl. The Bills didn't lose that game. Spags won it. Steve Spagnuolo carrying Patrick Mahomes to 3 consecutive Super Bowls. Collision course. I was so used to Gabe Davis wearing 13 for the Bills that I was terrified anytime they threw it to the guy who I thought was Gabe Davis, but thankfully wasn't. Gabe Davis drops those passes.
Not once against Kansas City, he didn't. There was one game against Kansas City where he caught 200 yards worth of them.
Yeah. In terms of spirit, attitude, and the way he chews gum, Pete Carroll is the youngest head coach in the NFL. I mean, he is. You would agree. He's got energy.
He does
on top
have,
of energy.
He does have youthful exuberance. He
Yeah.
He seems to have a zest for life.
Yep.
Secret to aging. He had white hair when he was 40.
Yep.
Well, I would say zest for life is also
all
a
right.
secret to aging as well.
I feel like he's a very 73-year-old, 73-year-old.
You don't know Pete. I mean,
I just think you're picturing a Pete Carroll of a bygone era.
Well, he's talking about his aura and his energy, not
Yes.
the way he looks physically.
I'm talking about both.
and the way he chews gum.
That'll give you.
Congratulations to Dalton Kincaid for ruining Josh Allen's legacy. The whole Dalton Kincaid and Schultz thing is very confusing. Is it not?
2 different last names, yeah.
I call Dalton Schultz. I call him Dallas Kincaid. I mean, I'm all over the place.
You know, I've been able to manage.
Yeah.
Throwing a Dawson Knox.
Oh,
boy.
God, everything gets crazy.
I do. I'll do the same thing. Dallas Clark, Dawson Knox, Kincaid.
Clark, I forgot.
That's just all of them. It's some fun.
Mashed together.
It's just all 3 of them mashed together and then go lose to the Chiefs. All of you.
Top 5 people who have ruined Josh Allen's legacy. OLI, Spags. Number 5, Gabe Davis. Number 4, the old overtime rules. Number 3, Sean McDermott. Number 2, Dalton Kincaid. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Here come the Islanders. Playing good hockey. They are. The Isles, watch out. At the end of the day, what happened?
You see that trade?
Yeah.
It was a blockbuster trade in the NHL.
What happened?
Mikko Rantanen got
Really?
traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. Morning HS went to Colorado, and a huge blockbuster trade in the WNBA that was broken by Shams.
Wow.
Kelsey Plum. Just blockbusters.
I don't know why the Sparks would give up their number 2 pick. Very suspicious.
But you like the Isles.
They're hot. At the end of the day, trying to carry the football and Josh Allen to the Super Bowl was just too much for James Cook to overcome. How about you hand him the ball on 4th and 1? That guy's good.
That 4th down touchdown, forgotten. It'll end up being forgotten, and it could have been a play for all time.
Dan Le Batard saying he wants to get younger, but letting Papi and Greg Cody carry the live stream. Dan, the Stugotz is strong in you. I'm glad they were there last night for you. I wasn't. They were. I'm glad they were happy. They made you happy. They were funny. I was glad they were there, but that's not getting younger, my man.
Thank you. Yes, that's correct.
I just dropped a my man on
That's
you.
right.
It was
That-
weird.
and
I've
to-
never done it before.
And totally obvious, yes, as well. Yes, they are not young people. The average age of Cody and my father is 76 and a half years old.
Greg is a young 76.
No, he isn't.
Like Pete Carroll. Ish.
Right.
Greg is an old 70. Greg and Seinfeld are the same age.
Huh. I got chills watching Tom Brady zip one to Gronk during the pregame. Did you see it?
He loved,
Oh, my
yes,
God.
as soon as they brought a football out, Tom Brady is a bit like your dog when it comes to his
He's
toy
on a
and the
diet.
throwing.
Well, I guess he famously has been. Yeah.
Jaden Daniels deserves better. The D in Jaden Daniels stands for deserves better. Washington fumbled the game away. You know what they say, Dan?
I don't.
Ball security is job security.
They do say that.
Eckler, that one hurt. Oh, did that one hurt? Oh. Hurt?
Oh, I just saw the look on Chris Cody's face of all those prop bet overs on Eckler that he bet just because Eckler's on God Bless Football. And so you go 24 and a half yards receiving. You go 18 yards rushing.
I had it. Yeah.
He's lamenting Eckler. Like, everyone had a turnover for the Commanders in that game.
I know, but we love Austin, man.
You guys saw the stat, right, that all 4 of the remaining teams yesterday had not had a turnover in the playoffs? Like, for all the analysis we do, it's just that one's pretty important. Like, if you do not turn the ball over, you tend to win football games.
Yep. Unless you're the Bills.
That's right. Unless Patrick Mahomes is alive.
Not turning the ball over.
Also, well, he did turn the ball over, actually, right? The Chiefs lost the turnover battle in that game, correct? They turned the ball over once. The Bills played perfect football, still lost.
It's got to be frustrating.
It's got to be frustrating.
Did you see Josh Allen when he did fumble the ball and he just leaned over and picked it up with one hand?
It was a play of the game, yeah.
It's insane. Insane.
Yes, he's
guy.
He's a
It's
centaur.
oblong. The ball is oblong.
Weird ball.
He has one eye?
He's a centaur. The lower half of his body is the. Billy was pleased with his cyclone and
Cyclops.
And centaur and
Callback.
cyclops
Jess's joke.
Yes, yes.
What if the Bills hired Spags?
That's a great idea.
Jaden Daniels, the rare quarterback to arrive despite already having been there for months. He's good. I want to say he'll get back to that game, but it's football. Gatorade bath in the NFC Championship game. Embarrassing. The E in Eagles stands for embarrassing. Act like you've been there before. Seriously. No one celebrates the championship game like that. No one. Especially when you were a play away from winning the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Embarrassing. Whoever pushes the tush in a tush push should get the credit for the touchdown. How about that? Or a half tutty or something. I mean, seriously. They're doing all the work. They're pushing you into the end zone. Give them a touchdown. Gainwell. That guy would have so many TDs.
Those are funny words to put together because touchdown is what you do on Gainwell in order to gain well. Like, yes, you got to put your hands lower down on his body. I'm with Stugotz on this whole idea of there should be at least partial credit on the touchdown for somebody doing the pushing of the tush.
We were looking at the last Super Bowl matchup between these two teams, and it's rare because the cores are pretty much the same, but how different Philadelphia is playing from that year. Their whole offense was, very quick decisions.
Yes.
No one's going to be more decisive in the league than Jalen Hurts, and now it's all about the running game. Like the leading rusher in that Super Bowl for
Behind
Kansas
Jalen
City,
Hurts.
behind Jalen, like in that backfield. Now they are a Saquon Barkley team. Was Gainwell, and he had what?
21 yards.
He didn't gain well.
No. But he pushed well. Super Bowl 59. Spags versus Fangs. Goosebumps. Oh, boy.
So why did Fangs leave Miami?
It's a good question.
The Dolphins wasted Fangs.
He didn't get along with the players.
A lot of people.
I thought he
have
wanted to
been
be close to
asking.
family or something.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
That was his public.
I think that
lie.
there was something legitimately to like going to Philadelphia and coaching for the Eagles.
Right.
Hated Jalen Ramsey.
He's a Philly guy if I've ever seen one.
He
right?
really is,
Yeah.
But you guys won that.
Spags or
breakup
Fangs?
For sure.
Spags seems like a Philly guy also. Maybe a Buffalo guy. The real winner yesterday was the Kelsey podcast. On the topic of the Kelsey podcast, here's something to ponder. Was Jason Kelsey overrated? I mean, they set a franchise record for rushing yards the year he retired.
Do you know where Spags is from?
He's from Massachusetts. Yeah. Close to Buffalo. It is. He's a asshole. Dan, I went to school there. I know plenty of assholes, and I'm telling you, I can get to Buffalo in like 2 hours from my school. 3 hours. I'm pushing it. And I did, in that Acura Integra. Oh, did I push it?
I don't feel like there's anything close to Buffalo. Like, I don't think you can
It
say...
feels like that when
I
you're
don't,
there.
I don't think you can say anything is close to Buffalo. It's a long drive, especially where that stadium is.
Yeah.
His hometown is a 6-hour drive from Buffalo.
Not in an Acura Integra.
Right. Pushing it.
Exactly.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Jason Witten would have been a better hire. What are the Cowboys doing?
Billy and I are curious, Stugotz, why you would feel the need to lie about why a trip that was 6 hours would take you 2 hours.
And 18 minutes.
And then you made it
Trying
3
to enhance
hours.
my argument by lying.
The route may be affected by lakeshore flood warnings, though.
You guys have never pushed an Integra, okay? I mean,
I just don't understand
Just
why.
push it.
Why would you have to say that that's close to Buffalo when it's
it
not?
depends.
Close
Are we
to
doing it on
Buffalo?
a Saturday? Is it a Sunday morning? It depends. Are we
Is there a
pushing
flood
it?
warning? Yeah,
Right.
these are things.
Does he drive an Acura? I mean,
The westernmost point of Massachusetts is a 5-hour drive from Buffalo.
I'm with Dan though.
What kind of car are you driving?
It's
on
an
that?
odd thing for
Ford
me.
Tagliabue.
What am I doing, Dan?
I mean, you're on nationally and internationally. Someone was going to call you on it. You're just
hoping
used
they
to.
wouldn't, yeah.
You're just used to getting away with the lies because we can't keep up with them, and not always is someone like Jessica looking up trying to play whack-a-mole with the
I
lies.
love maps. This is the best assignment ever.
I don't care if it's Kentucky. You can't storm the court after beating the 9th-ranked team in the country. You can't do it. Has any fan base of a below-average sports program stormed more courts and fields this year than Vanderbilt? The Commodores. City of Philadelphia, you don't deserve Nick Sirianni. That bulge you see coming out of the back of Brian Schottenheimer's shirt is Jerry Jones's hand. Nothing unites this country like laughing at the Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer should do his press conference sitting on Jerry Jones's knee.
I asked this question last night. They tried to news dump a head coach, right?
They did on a Friday, yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Can you believe it?
Tried to news dump a head coach Friday, hoping that the games would swallow it, and they will.
Were you thinking of Syracuse? Because that's only 3 hours from
I
Massachusetts.
was thinking of Syracuse.
Okay.
Yes. But then Syracuse is like an hour to Buffalo.
No.
Nothing is near Buffalo.
Push it. Acura Integra.
It's
I've done it.
149 miles.
I've done it in an hour, I'm telling you.
But the route may be affected by lakeshore floods. So.
I was in college. It was a different time. But I've made that drive in 3 hours, I'm telling you. Worcester, Mass to Syracuse.
The Acura Integra's estimated maximum speed is 135 miles per hour.
That's what I'm saying. Max it out at 135. That's pushing it, and then do the math from there. 3 hours, boom. How many miles from Syracuse to Buffalo?
149.
All right, so about an hour and change.
What?
The Giants got the Eagles to a Super Bowl. Tom Brady saying he doesn't hate Nick Foles. Liar! You agree?
I do not agree.
You think he's telling the truth? You think he likes Nick Foles?
I think he's fine with Nick
He's
Foles.
not fine with Nick Foles. He'd have 8 if not for Nick Foles. He's fine with Nick Foles. No, you're Brady.
What was he, 7-3 in Super Bowls?
Yeah, it would have been 8-2.
You think if Tom Brady got really fat, everyone would just love him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too.
No one gets rewarded for doing dumb things more so than Nick Sirianni. Top 5 people who get rewarded for bad decisions. Number 5, President Trump. Number 4, everyone who President Trump pardoned. Number 3, Nick Sirianni.
More so.
Number 2, Christopher Columbus. trying to find Asia. He stumbled into America. I mean, number one, me. Hey. Watch out for the Knicks.
Really?
Oh, they're playing well there. I'm so excited about this team. I like basketball again. Dalton Kincaid, the Mark Andrews, is strong in you. Pat Riley, trademarking three-peat back in 1988. Heady play. Wow, Riles nailed it. Super Bowl 59, the greatest coach in Eagles history versus the second greatest coach in Chiefs history. How about that? Hank Stram? Anybody?
You really do have Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the greatest coach in Eagles history versus the greatest coach in Chiefs history.
Second greatest.
No, well, hold on. Thank you. I heard you the first time.
Oh, okay.
The greatest coach in Chiefs history and the greatest coach in Eagles history are both in that game, but they're both Andy Reid.
No.
Nick Sirianni has a 706 win percentage. Andy Reid at a 583.
Yep.
And Nick Sirianni has taken them to 2 Super Bowls now. I wonder when it is that Andy Reid will no longer be as beloved in Philadelphia, because I would argue Eagles fans think that Andy Reid is a great coach because of what he's done in Kansas City.
That's correct.
Right.
He wasn't beloved in Philadelphia. He wasn't beloved.
They ran him out.
But now, if you ask Eagles fans, they'll be like, "Yeah, Andy Reid, we loved him."
Now he's beloved.
But because of what he did somewhere else.
Sirianni being complained and fired every McNabb season.
What about Doug Peterson? I mean, he actually won a Super Bowl
With
for
the
them.
backup
With Nick
quarterback
Foles,
that
right.
Tom Brady
the guy that
hates.
Brady loves.
Yeah.
How about Dick Vermeil? He made it to one.
Put it on the poll then. Greatest coach in Eagles history: Sirianni, Andy Reid, Peterson, or Vermeil.
Dick Vermeil, yeah. Now do it with the Chiefs. Andy Reid or Hank Stram.
Fine.
Or Dick Vermeil.
Pat Shurmur was 1-0 as an Eagles coach.
Nick Sirianni, 1 win away from being the Eagles' greatest head coach ever, and 1 loss away from being on the hot seat. What a game for him coming up, huh? How the hell do the Chiefs keep doing this? Speaking of hell, our Priles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
I think a lot of people had the reaction that Stugotz did to the Gatorade bath, where we're done with it. Maybe not embarrassing, but just done with that as the celebration. Come up with something new. I don't know why it is that we have now gotten tired of it, but I feel like a lot of people had the same reaction that Stugotz did, which is, come on, do something better than that to express joy. Although I would say the same thing of Patrick Mahomes. Hey, Mahomes, quit with the airplane dancing around. Like, give us something different on the joy levels so that we can live vicariously through your joy and not have today feel like a day where people are rooting against the greatness, the obvious greatness that is you.
Are you sure that was Mahomes doing that and not Dylan Raiola? Because he was there yesterday for some reason.
Do you guys have that video? Can you guys get the video? What has he now gone too far where he is impersonating Patrick Mahomes? He's trying to look like Patrick Mahomes. He's behaving physically like Patrick Mahomes. And now he's also in the Chiefs locker room during a celebration, evidently doing interviews as Patrick Mahomes. What is happening here? Why is he in the Chiefs locker room?
He's just wandering about, and Isaiah Pacheco saw him, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, this isn't actually Patrick Mahomes." And then he scans over to see Patrick Mahomes sitting down, and it's like, "Oh boy, like they're within, 20 feet of each other. I feel like this is violating some sort of restraining order that it should exist, whether it does or doesn't."
You feel awkward if you're Dylan, right? Do you kind of just go like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to"?
Yeah, who do you think should feel the most awkward here? Because he's getting made fun of, right? Isaiah Pacheco's making fun of him.
But it's not Dylan. Like, he knows what he's doing is outrageous, and he knows he's being made fun of, and he's still sinking into it, right?
Well, he gets to be in the locker room.
Right.
So whatever you have to do to get
what you got to do
to be in the locker room.
But it's also weird because he's of the age that he's trying to legitimately be in one of those locker rooms in the next couple years. So like now he's in the locker room, but kind of being made fun of.
Wouldn't you assume that wherever it is that social media resides with young people, that clout chasing would end up distorting some of the behavior occasionally with an assortment of people like that? That this is Patrick Mahomes' brother is somebody who has also gotten the wrath of the internet for, hey, you don't deserve that fame. What are you trying to do, grifting off of the fame of Patrick Mahomes? But isn't this the most common thing in the world these days?
But then he did alleged crimes. I think this is probably an unpopular take on Dylan Raiola. I think he's 19 and the things that he gets made fun of are like largely harmless. Like he does he has like the Patrick Mahomes haircut and does like the celebration and stuff. And I think it'd be cool to be a 19-year-old and be in the Chiefs locker room after they win the AFC Championship. And plus, Stugotz, how far away is Lincoln from Kansas City?
It's about 6 hours, Acura Integra, if you're pushing it. Yeah.
So you're going slower because it's 3 hours.
Yeah, you got to go slow in Lincoln. Yeah.
He's got a good excuse.
Speed traps.
He's still a teenager. Yeah. Jason Tatum, no excuse.
Are there any other like college guys out there like imitating other NFL quarterbacks that just aren't getting the attention? Like, is there another like Kirk Cousins out there at Iowa?
I mean, that would be something.
That would be weird.
Stugotz mentioned something during weekend observations. I do wonder how Giants fans are experiencing the idea that they chose Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley.
Oh, they have to hate it. I mean, the Giants are responsible for Saquon going there and putting their team into the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the last team Giant fans, maybe the Cowboys, want to see playing for a Super Bowl.
I'm honestly, I don't know what you guys view to be the greatest of the free agent additions when Mike Ryan is out here clamoring for the Buffalo Bills to make drastic changes. But the two big free agent moves this season somehow, after, I'm going to say, 5 years of everyone telling me how disposable the running back is and watching the economy of running backs shrivel up to nothing.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley being additions that move the needle like that more than any number one receiver, more than any quarterback changing places, where you just have a cultural shift on how it is that a team is viewed for toughness in the space age, spaceship, passing age. It's an unusual thing to see exploited as a market inefficiency, especially with New York Giants decision-making. They decided to give Daniel Jones the money
off a playoff win
that could have kept Saquon Barkley.
Honestly, I view through a lot of this through a Cowboys prism. And like you have a guy that is a total dictator when it comes to your franchise, and every decision he seems to be making is wrong. It's bad, and it's progressively getting worse. The Brian Schottenheimer thing is just flatly weird, as Kellen Moore proves to be someone that is a lifesaver for Nick Sirianni, as Dan Quinn is in that game opposite of him, as all these running backs who are big splashy free agent signings, that's usually what he goes for. Instead, he brought back Ezekiel Elliott. Like, it's a little confusing what's going on over there, and they're almost just if you're a Cowboys fan, you're just like looking at how old is Jerry? How long do we got to do this? None of this is going in the right direction.
If the Eagles win, they should send Joe Shane like a personalized Super Bowl ring, right? Like just to troll him even more.
Yes.
Like they should send a Super Bowl ring that says Joe Shane, and then it has like all the little trinkets and everything on it. Maybe put Saquon's number as his number in there. But like whatever that cost, I think I would do just to mess with them.
In fairness to the Giants and Joe Shane, it was hard to see this coming. Because 3 of the last 4 years, Saquon has been well below 1,000 yards. He had the 1 year where he's injured, had another year where he rushed for 593 yards. Last year was 962. To think that he was going to do this is ludicrous.
He has to legitimately resent his son for that clip going viral this whole season. Like, I bet he's gotten grounded, extra chores. It's like, you know the shit that this has caused me? Yeah. Your bright idea. Great idea. We couldn't even have taken Jaden Daniels. But, yeah, we should have taken him. Yeah.
One of the things that perpetually gets understated whenever we're talking about any of this stuff is Saquon Barkley has been really healthy all year. And so it helps. It helps to be able to break all of those tackles with those giant thighs that are not possible to tackle in the open field when you don't actually get hurt. Because it's not just the season you're talking about that he was hurt. I think of his entire time with the Giants as Daniel Jones not being good enough, so they kept handing the ball to Saquon Barkley with no openings, and then he'd get hurt.
Well, he had the year where he played 2 games. That was the bad injury. Next year, 13 games, then 16. Last year was 14.
I don't assume, though, that he's always healthy, though, once he comes off of that year. Like the year where you played 2 games and then come back the next year and aren't quite yourself. Like what we're presently witnessing from this human being, what could have been projected out of college, because everyone saw what a mammoth beast he was.
And he was great as a rookie.
But playing behind that offensive line, which for 5 years has been the best in the sport, even if you take out Jason Kelsey, has made it a different beast.
Why does the NFL still have like stationary bikes from 1970 on the sidelines with like the giant fans that you have to like pump the arms? Also, like Peloton can't like step in and be like, we'll provide you with like 32 bikes and then just, set those up on the sidelines? Because like I don't think those are in existence anywhere except NFL sidelines anymore, right?
They should just have an entire Soul Cycle class going on in the end zone. So if you get hurt, you have to jump into the class and start dancing.
That's a good question, Billy. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Why does the NFL use stationary bikes from the 1970s?
Also, the difference between athletes and us, if I run 60 yards and score a touchdown, I'm like panting on the ground with oxygen, not hopping on a bike to stay warm.
Well, James Harrison needed oxygen after his famous Super Bowl run.
True.
You are bringing up a point that is visually funny, but that we're used to. It's not unlike looking at the sidelines and one of the offensive linemen is using one of those belts that vibrate to lose weight. Like
I love
they
those
did
belts. Yeah.
in the 70s, like that belt that just gets attached to a machine that shakes a few.
I think those are back now.
No.
I'm getting IG ads for them.
No.
Yeah.
So you will now.
I bought one.
No.
So what was the premise? Like the science is that it just jiggles your like love handles, I
It's
guess.
like doing 50,000 sit-ups.
Yep. Just
And
sitting
then-
on your couch.
And then you lose weight?
Yeah. Well,
Mike, your IG knows you're 40, yes?
It knows that I'm turning 40 with hats that I can put on that regrow my hair. Hats
But
that
you're
I
a
can
young
wear.
40.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Like
But
Pete Carroll.
no, everything on my IG is all my For You. I did get Kegel exercises for men. That one's a new one.
Whoa.
you got the infrared thing that you put on your head and it grows your hair back?
Yeah, I got that one.
I fell for it.
I'm not sure what it's trying to tell me about the Kegel exercises.
I want to play some sound here from God Bless Football. Stugotz had a monster year betting football games. Billy, did he end up passing you? Both of you had great years betting games, getting things publicly right when you were, being accountable for your picks. Did he end up passing you? Because
I stopped keeping track of how we were doing head-to-head after a while because I learned early on that it was bothering him. So I didn't.
I mean, everyone makes a big deal about this big board that's not very big. I mean, no one talks about my picks. I mean,
I stopped. I would go out there and put the picks, but at a certain point, and I hate to say this to our fans of betting public, there were weeks that I was like, I hope I have an off week because it's really starting to bother Stugotz.
You're not fat. You're just wearing the wrong shirts. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like every time I scroll down, the third video is Dana White telling me about something like, I used to be like you. But then I found this guy. Yeah. You could do it, you could not. But I trust him more than anyone in science.
what is the name of the belt that is just shaking from a distance? It can't be made the way that it was for, like, the 1950s, right? Like, it's not... You're saying it's the same thing has been reinvented to a new generation where they're like, we'll trick you. You can just sit there. You don't have to exercise. We'll give you six-pack abs. All you have to do is wear this around your waist, and it will shake, and you watch how your core gets strong.
I get that for the back and also for the front. Look, you can be doing 500 crunches while you're just sitting down watching NASCAR, Mike. You're not the problem. Science is.
Yes.
Let's celebrate Stugotz. And I did not know that this was a source of tension between you and Billy.
It was called the vibrating exercise belt.
And is it still called the vibrating exercise belt? Because Mike is telling me this is making a comeback. And again, I'm just putting Deion Dawkins on the sidelines. And I'm just having him, you go to the sideline, an offensive lineman needs to get, because the reason the stationary bike has the arms moves is because you want to be interconnected between arms and legs when you're warming everything up and when you're, stretching the elasticity that is the fascia in the body.
The one you're talking about actually is called the Walton belt. That makes sense, right? You've heard of that before, the Walton belt. Yes.
Yes.
They've upgraded it.
I can't believe that this has made a comeback. I was making a joke. Let's go ahead and play the sound, though, and celebrate Stugotz's winning season here. Is this numerically accurate, Billy? Would you're vouching for the correctness of these numbers? Let's see what we've got here.
In fact, I maintain that no one has ever had a better gambling football season than the one I'm currently in right now. How about that? 2 games to go. Let's finish strong. Commanders, they're taking on the Eagles at Philadelphia. Commanders +6, buy it up to 6.5. Commanders cover. They win the game outright. They win by 4 and advance to the Super Bowl. Bills +1.5. They're taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I have no idea what to do with this game. I'm lying. I know exactly what to do with this game. Take the Bills. The Bills go to the Super Bowl.
That's an unfair edit. I put in the Slack what Stugotz's record was. It was like 30 games over 500. You guys edited just to have him get the games wrong.
We tell them to tighten videos, and then this one, we want exactly the line Dan wanted. I mean, it's just,
I was 1-1 this week. I was 87-51-4 on the season.
But we just played. That's unfair. What do you mean, well?
I think when you sent the video, they didn't know the context that you were going to be setting up, I think.
They just assumed that I was making fun of him versus...
I think we wanted to the thing to highlight there is he picked the 2 teams that lost. Like, that's what I thought we were trying to highlight.
I understand, and I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying
like
it's an unfair video edit to Stugotz. Look, did you not hear how we started? We were celebrating the fact that he did well. We don't celebrate it enough. He complains about it. There's tension between Billy. I put it in the Slack in order to celebrate it. You guys edit out the part that's positive and only leave in what embarrasses him.
Can I criticize Stugotz for something else?
Sure.
Nothing about Madison Keys and weekend observations.
Oh, that's a bad job out of me. You're right.
Taylor.
Can you give me, please, the price or any information on this Walton belt that is making a comeback so that people jiggle to lose weight?
It shakes the fat away.
How much does that cost?
The originals are on eBay for around $300. Wow. It looks a little dangerous. No. It looks very old and very torture device-y. Yeah.
I want to please Stugotz and make him feel a little better about things. How about you guys just put up a video of Sylvester Stallone talking in order to tickle Stugotz?
Allow these today. They don't even allow these today because they're so dangerous. But that's what they used when I did the film. They're barely 6 ounces. They're Reyes, and they're literally lethal. So I still have them because it's a time when people were tougher. Sorry, they were. Life is just getting a little easier and easier and easier. And, that's great. It's wonderful, but it's not. I think when we force ourselves into tough situations, that's what the human creature is supposed to do. They're not supposed to have wheels on their suitcases. They're not supposed to have lawnmowers with engines that pull them along. It's a convenience, no question. But it just makes things easier. Now with AI, you can literally put your brain in a pickle jar and have that machine do it. So I cherish these moments. I cherish hard work. Even though I hate it, I know it's like strong medicine. Tastes horrible going down, but it makes you feel better.
He's talking about the Rocky gloves, the 6-ounce Rocky gloves.
Did you notice behind him he had the heavyweight belt from Rocky and the machete from Rambo? I mean, oh my God.
Do you think he believes he was world champion?
What a shelf.
Put it on the poll. Yes, is the answer to your question. He also believes that he could fight and doesn't get dissuaded by the video proof of the Rocky movies that made all of that punching seem both small and stupid. But put it on the poll. Were people tougher during Stallone's days? Yes or no?
Rolling suitcases catching a stray.
Yeah, what's wrong? And put it on the poll as well. Do we need to do something about wheels on suitcases?
You got to carry it.
You do?
According to Sly.
Yeah, but why?
Same with cars. We should just be doing the Fred Flintstone, like.
Why did Stallone just do a back in my day being against advancements?
Anti-wheel. No more wheels. Wheels are the easy route.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by Venmo.
Before we get to Jake Tapper here, who is elbowing Bradley Cooper, trying to become the #1 Eagles fan there is nationally, and Bradley Cooper will not allow him to do it. I just want to give you this stat from the Associated Press. Patrick Mahomes has trailed in the fourth quarter in 9 playoff games. He's come back to win 6 of them and forced overtime in 2 others before losing. He has a 132.2 rating with 5 TD passes and 1 touchdown run when down 1 to 8 points in the fourth quarter or overtime of a playoff game, leading scores on 13 of 14 drives. One of those overtimes he never got the ball. So what you're talking about there doesn't have a precedent for 17 straight one-score games that they've won. The ability to win close games, I don't think usually is an ability, but it's hard to argue against some of this math.
And if he got the ball first in that game, they would have won. I mean.
So Jake Tapper is with us, and that's the task ahead. He's the chief Washington correspondent for CNN. He's the host of The Lead. It's moving to a new time slot, weekdays from 5 to 7 Eastern, as CNN rolls out some changes here during the second Trump administration. We've got a handful of questions for you. Thank you for joining us. You were on the Jumbotron yesterday. How was that yesterday, seeing your team beat everyone to death with Saquon's thighs?
It was very exciting. I loved it. There it is. That's me doing my own press. I took a picture of myself and then hit the QR code and then got it up there on the Jumbotron and then took a picture of it and tweeted it. Yes.
Yes.
But let me tell you something. That is not a rivalry with Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper's there with Gigi Hadid in the owner's box. That is not me. That is not me.
You are the bronze medalist behind Cooper and Kevin Hart. Are you on the medal stand? No.
Mike Trout. I mean,
no. I think he's the undisputed champion of Philly fandom. He does the hype reels and stuff. I'm just excited to be watching the game, and that it was such an exciting game. And we were only up by 2. At one point, we were only by 2 points, and everybody in Philadelphia is like me. We're all like, oh, my God, we're going to blow it. Oh, my God, we're going to blow it. And then the opposite happened. We destroyed. Well,
how does this work with your Washington friends? You're the chief Washington correspondent for CNN. Do you have some texts that you can read me from what it is that you were doing in terms of burying your political friends who care about the Commanders?
I have some very good friends who are Commanders fans all the way back to when they had a different name. And they were telling me how much their boys were going to spank the Eagles, which is, obviously not so much. By the end, honestly, I don't want to be gloating. I can gloat a little, right? So first of all, that dance in the end zone by Daniels, when he got them to like only 13 points behind, was weird. Mm-hmm. Second of all that stuff in when the offsides after offsides after offsides was weird. But then also by the end of it, it was like a basketball score. 55-23.
And there were fights all over the field too because of the way your team
played. Because of them. We were very well behaved. Did we have any unsportsmanlike conduct or unnecessary roughness plays called against the Eagles?
Jake, are you talking?
I'm just laying out facts, as Harry Truman once said, right. President Truman. I'm just telling the truth if they can. But I'm serious. Like they were the Commanders had a great run. They should be very happy. Obviously, Dan Snyder was the problem the whole time. And they have a really good team, and I was absolutely nervous about them because of all the momentum and all the talent. And I remain a huge fan of Zach Ertz. I think most Philadelphia people just love him and wish he were still on the team. But, the game was what it was. It was very exciting.
You are talking. It's clear. Will you go into work today and just heckle Bills fan Wolf Blitzer?
Oh no, that's so sad. And I do feel bad for the Bills. One of my best friends, not including my best friend Wolf Blitzer, is a Buffalo fan. First of all, can I say something? That is such a sweet picture. I read in the New York Post people were hazing him for having like that old school TV setup. Why is that something to haze? That's lovely. He's a lovely gentleman enjoying a game. He doesn't need a jumbotron in his debt rec room.
I mean, there's a VCR there. I mean, VCR.
I think that's a real to real.
Jake, when he showed up in Mission Impossible Fallout, and he revealed that he wasn't actually Spliff Blitzer.
Spoiler alert.
Is that the greatest face reveal in franchise history?
I was not expecting it. Every now and then when I'm near him, I look at him to make sure it's really him and not Simon Pegg. I will say that Wolf reminds folks that he's done cameos in the most successful Mission Impossible movie and the most successful James Bond movie in the histories of those two franchises. And he leaves it up to the listener to suggest that he's the special sauce. He does remind people of that. And I don't have any facts to dispute that.
Jake, it is really quaint, naive almost, that you would see that entertainment center and say, of the internet, why weren't they nice to him there?
That's a good point.
Why
They're not nice about anything.
On X, they weren't nice to
what
Wolf
do you mean? What part are you not understanding?
I know. It's just like he's just
the
such
internet.
a sweet guy. He's from Buffalo. He's rooting for his home team. It's like what? He should spend $1 billion on some. I mean, it's. I guarantee you, it's just him watching the game.
He got
right? So
he got the result he deserved for that entertainment center yesterday.
That's so harsh. Although I have to say, I'd rather play Kansas City because I think the boys are going to be much more motivated to beat Kansas City and Buffalo. You got to feel something for them. Like they're a great team and they've just been cheated out of a bowl time after time. And they did have some momentum too. So I'm not unhappy that we're playing the Chiefs, even though
you prefer the Chiefs. Is that what you just said?
Yes, because I think because it will be. I think that will motivate Jalen Hurts and the guys to more so than if it were Buffalo, which is another scrappy, gritty team.
Jake,
not of pretty boys.
Jake, it's the Super Bowl.
He's motivated.
They're motivated.
Well, I mean, I don't know that they were so much 2 years ago.
You can't.
They almost won it.
You can't want the Chiefs, Jake. What? I mean, nobody wants the Chiefs.
Nobody wants the Chiefs. Well, I think the odds that we beat the Chiefs are stronger because of the emotional factor of what happened a couple of years ago in Arizona. I do.
Wow.
That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong, but look, I'm obviously afraid of them. They're a great team. Mahomes is a monster. I'm not doing a victory lap. I mean, I think that obviously the Chiefs are favored, but I think
keep an eye on that line.
I'm just saying it's up to. Well, you think it's going to change? I think the Chiefs are
changed already. It started at 1.5. It's up to 2.5. I mean,
oh, you think it's going to keep going like that? Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Have you considered they
make the victory all the sweeter?
Have a deal with the devil? That obviously has to factor in, right?
That Patrick Mahomes has a deal with the devil?
I think the whole team probably.
It was the deal that Brady had with the devil. They transferred it over. It was a complicated transaction.
Yes.
I mean, as opposed to a deal with the refs? I mean, either way.
Wow, he's talking.
Either way, it's going to be a game. I'm very excited. And, my wife is actually a Kansas City fan, so that makes it a little bit more difficult.
Wow.
I'm going to have to go to the game just so I don't have to listen to her cheering for Kansas City.
House divided.
How does that one go? How will that go over? How does that one work?
It's not very well. It's not very happy. It's not a very happy situation. It wasn't a happy situation for me 2 years ago. That's correct. I don't know. And the kids, the daughter will just go with whoever wins. The son is an Eagles fan, so we'll see.
But how does that go that evening though? That you're,
It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. Like you're sitting there with your wife and your wife is rooting for the devil. That's not fun. That's not an enjoyable thing. Like why? Like your wife is sitting there rooting for the bad guys. Like literally, that's like why. I mean, I don't want to say it's like watching a war documentary and she's rooting for
the alternative
bad guys,
is Philadelphia.
Yeah, but I understand that this would be complicated, and I don't mean to suggest that perhaps house divided like Stugotz is, but that's as unhappy as you could be with your wife in a social setting of any kind, is it not?
It's not enjoyable. It was not enjoyable 2 years ago. And like I said, I'm trying to get Super Bowl tickets so I can take my son to the game and I don't have to deal with it this year. That's correct. I don't want to have to deal with it.
Okay.
She's from, I mean, she's literally from St. Joe, Missouri, which is right outside Kansas City. She is actually a fan. It's not just because of Taylor Swift. She's legitimately a fan. And by the way, I don't begrudge all the girls out there cheering for Kansas City because of Taylor Swift. Good, happy, whatever.
I imagine that Bradley Cooper. I imagine Bradley is not searching for Super Bowl tickets. They just showed up in his inbox this morning. I mean,
he's probably already there. Yeah. He's probably already in New Orleans.
Do you think Bradley uses the QR code, the photo, to get on the photo?
I think Lurie just hops a ride on the Cooper jet down to New Orleans. I think that's how it works.
You won't have any trouble getting tickets, will you?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Anybody listening out there that wants to help hook a brother up, that's fine. I mean, I went on to StubHub. It's not like, I don't know what kind of life you think I lead here, but it's not like people are like throwing tickets at me. But I'll get some, I think.
You should try Game Time. They have all-in pricing. You can look to see where the seats are located and everything.
Game Time better than StubHub?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, way better.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Stupid question.
Use the promo code Dan with your first purchase.
Yep.
Get 20%.
Is that a real thing? I don't know if you guys.
Promo code Dan, real thing.
It's a real thing.
I'm going to end up at like a women's flag football game or something.
No, but you can. There's really no.
By the way,
what's
wrong
with women's flag football.
No, it's great.
Here he comes.
Hold on, backtracking.
Don't backtrack. Don't backtrack. You didn't want to go to a women's flag football
I want to
game.
root for women's flag football. I just don't mean in 2 weeks. I don't want to go there. That's all.
Panoramic seat views of that too.
Let me ask you a couple of Philadelphia questions. Better Philadelphia Barkley, Charles or Saquon?
Oh wow, that's really tough.
Yep.
I really have to pick? I mean, right now my affection is with Saquon Barkley. He is unbelievable.
Right.
I mean, I love Charles Barkley. I mean, he's fantastic. I can't really choose because I remember cutting high school, going to the local Wendy's, and there was the round mound his first year in line behind me to get a Frosty. And so he's just the GOAT in Philly, although he did leave at one point. He did,
but he didn't win. So if Saquon wins a Super Bowl here, he is the most famous Barkley in Philadelphia sports history, right?
You're trying to get I'm not gonna choose between Barkleys, but I will tell you that Saquon is unbelievable. And if my wife were pregnant with my son right now, Saquon would be a runner, a contender for the name
Saquon Tapper.
Yeah, that would be. And you can't help. It doesn't roll off the tongue. You're saying your laughter seems to suggest it doesn't roll. He's so good and his attitude is so amazing. Let the young guys eat. I mean, just all this stuff. And he's such a joy, and he doesn't take the bait from folks like the Commanders, trying to pick fights. He's lovely. He's a lovely gentleman. Right now, Saquon. I mean, right this minute.
This isn't how you play the game. It's not. You're playing it incorrectly.
I said right this minute, Saquon. I don't. I actually have met Charles Barkley. I don't want him to be upset.
All right.
Well done.
Sirianni, you like obviously better than Andy Reid, correct?
I do, and I don't understand the Sirianni hate. Like Simmons saying, like he was 3 games away from like doing a podcast and all that. Like I don't really get it. He's led us to like I really don't. I understand. I have frustrations like any other Philadelphia fan of like plays and stuff like that. But like this is the second Super Bowl in 3 years that he's led it. Did I have my math right? He's great.
Is he the best coach in Eagles history?
I mean, Peterson led us to a victory. So as of right now, he's no. But if he wins us to a victory, sure. Then yes, that will seal his fate.
Rings in a box. Yep.
Wait, Doug Peterson's the greatest coach in Eagles history?
Yeah, he won one.
He won one. He won the only one we've won. I mean, what am I supposed to say? Dick Vermeil, just because?
No, you picked correctly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question we came in here asking today, which is, and this was something that surprised me over the last 24 hours because Jason Kelce hasn't played a football game in the last 24 hours, but his value and his greatness to the Eagles by my crew has been diminished over the last 24 hours because he's a really famous center who has gotten more rewards than any center has ever gotten from being a center, and he left and they're better.
I mean, what's the question?
Is he overrated?
Jason Kelce, overrated.
No, he's not overrated. He's not overrated. But I think Howie Roseman did it. You know, he built a great team and like he found holes and filled them. I mean, you know, you can't. I mean, you know, everybody loves Nick Foles in Philadelphia, and it was so great to see him at the game yesterday. But that doesn't mean that Jalen Hurts is overrated just because Nick Foles led us to a Super Bowl and he didn't. I don't see it that way. Roseman's doing a really good job.
Should Cam Jurgens get the late night talk show instead of Jason Kelce? Should it be Jurgens tonight?
Yes, sponsored by Jurgens.
You mentioned Nick Foles. Is he the greatest quarterback in Eagles history? And do you believe Tom Brady when he says that he likes Nick Foles?
I believe Tom Brady when he says he's jealous of Nick Foles. I believe that because he caught it and Brady didn't. What's not to like about Nick Foles? He's like a lovely gentleman, and he had his I mean, he's just unbelievable backup quarterback, led the team to a Super Bowl, and then more or less retired. I mean, I don't really think much about Tom Brady, to be completely honest. And I still don't understand why they made him an announcer.
Well, I'm going to make you think about him more. Do you find the Patriots dynasty more or less annoying than the now Chiefs dynasty?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
I hate the Chiefs right now. I think all of my childhood hatreds of, you know, the Cowboys and then my, you know, more recent hatreds of the Patriots, they're so old, they're so outdated. I need to establish a new hatred of the Chiefs. I think that's the only fair thing to do. Like, why? My brother-in-law's a Dallas fan. He lives right in Frisco. I can't hate them anymore. Who cares? They're so bad.
Wow.
Tom Brady, as an announcer, you really sideswiped him there. Do you have some strong opinions?
I said I don't. What is it? $500 billion for 2 years? I mean, whatever it is.
That's exactly what it is. It's $500 billion for 2 games.
For 2 minutes?
Yes.
$500 billion for 2 minutes. It just seems excessive to me. It seems excessive. His stories seem a little self-referential. I mean, I'm just saying. They just seem a little bit like, I get it's Tom Brady, okay. So it's a new gig. It's a new gig. It's about other people now.
Someone threw out a theory that people would like him more if he just became really fat. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. I just don't like him.
You laugh, though.
Again.
Well, I mean, it's a funny theory. I mean, I think, like, would I dislike him less? I mean, maybe I would, I mean, if I felt like he was just a chili dog away from a heart attack, sure, I guess, but...
It helps anyone.
He's the chief Washington correspondent for CNN. He's hosting.
We're talking about football. This is not how I talk.
That's right.
I don't cover this. I did interview Mahomes after he beat the Eagles 2 years ago, and it was very professional, just so you know. And I did ask about that one call, that questionable call. But in any case, it was a very I just want you to know I was able to put it away.
Why is there always just that one call with Patrick Mahomes, Jake? Like every game, it's just that one call. You know, every game it seems like.
You're going to have to ask the guys who get the direct deposit. It's not me.
Whoa!
I don't actually think
professional journalist Jake Tapper has accused.
You should have done sports.
I don't actually think that they're on the take.
Whoa!
It's just a joke.
Hold on a second.
It's a comedy show, Dan.
I want to do some
We're
recap
talking about football.
here.
I was just joking. I did say on air that the Patriots are cheaters, and that I stand by. When I said it in 2017.
You also said you'd like Tom Brady more if he were fat, or a chili dog, to quote you directly, a chili dog away from a heart attack.
And you hate women's flag football.
I said, to be precise, I said I might dislike him less. That's not the same thing as saying
you
I
hated
like
the
him more.
Chiefs. You did say you hate the Chiefs.
I said I need to develop a hatred of the Chiefs.
Okay, and
That's
you said you were against women's flag football.
I heard it.
This is typical legacy media. It's just, I understand what Trump's talking about now for the first time ever. You're just putting words in my mouth. Not at all what I said. Not at all what I said.
You really backtracked, though. You really caught yourself. You got a little loose with the sports guys, and you're like, some women's flag football game, and they're like, not that I have anything against women's flag
wanted to
football
make
game.
sure that you weren't sending me to a game I didn't.
Stand strong, Jake.
Anyway.
Can you tell us what it is that you make? And this is a broad question. He's the host of The Lead, and it's got a new time slot, 5 to 7 Eastern. CNN is rolling out some changes here for the second Trump administration. The state of America right now, what dismays you the most and what makes you the most hopeful?
What dismays me is I feel like political divisions have gotten so intense that people on other sides of the aisle cannot see the humanity in Democrats or Republicans, liberals or conservatives, whatever. And it's very distressing. And people always see the worst. They always make the worst possible interpretation of what the other side's doing. And it's distressing because I don't think it's rooted in reality, although I do think it is rooted in kind of like this complex of division that has emerged in social media and other forms of media of just creating division and demonizing. So that is distressing. What makes me hopeful is I think most Americans are not that deep down and are not that in their hearts. And I don't think it will be that difficult to rectify, but I do think it needs rectifying.
Let's play for Jake the sound of Philadelphia icon Sylvester Stallone talking about his 6-ounce gloves and a time when people should have had to carry suitcases through an airport, a better time in America.
They don't even allow these today. They don't even allow these today because they're so dangerous. But that's what they used when I did the film. They're barely 6 ounces. They're Reyes. And they're literally lethal. So I still have them because it's a time when people were tougher. Sorry, they were. Life is just getting a little easier and easier and easier. And, oh, that's great. It's wonderful, but it's not. I think when we force ourselves into tough situations, that's what the human creature is supposed to do. They're not supposed to have wheels on their suitcases. They're not supposed to have lawnmowers with engines that pull them along. It's a convenience, no question, but it just makes things easier. Now with AI, you can literally put your brain in a pickle jar and have that machine do it. So I cherish these moments. I cherish hard work. Even though I hate it, I know it's like a strong medicine. It tastes horrible going down, but it makes you feel better.
What are your thoughts there, Jake?
Wow, that's a lot. I'll just remind people he's not actually from Philadelphia. He's from New York. And the character Rocky is from Philadelphia. And I love Rocky. I'll just keep it positive.
Your wiki page says you're born in New York too, though.
I was born in New York. I moved when I was 3 months old. Okay. 3 months old.
Wow, Jessica.
Big cat situation.
You're really attacking.
You really got me.
Yes.
That's a
Got your
gotcha.
ass.
Again with the legacy media and the gotchas.
Yeah.
The gotchas again.
Jake.
This is
good seeing you. Look
Good
at
to see you.
Look at him. We've enraged
Supposed to be a
him.
happy day for him.
It is supposed
I'll see you
to
in
be.
2 weeks.
All right.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right. We will talk to you then. Nice seeing you.
What's it called again? The ticket, the thingy, the ticket thing.
Game
Game
time.
time.
Game
Go
time.
Dan. Go Dan.
Game time.
Go Dan.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
All right.
Thank you. It can't be that hard for him to get Super Bowl tickets, right?
It should be easy for him.
No,
yes.
I don't know if it's easy. I don't know if the Super
I
Bowl
mean-
ticket is ever easy.
It is with game time.
All right. Fair enough. The cold that has swept through Florida, I mentioned this yesterday. I don't understand how it is that Pensacola in one day got more snow than Juneau, Alaska got in the month of January. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Jessica, have you experienced yet the freezing iguanas? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen one yet, but I explained this to people. One of my friends was in town this weekend, and I was explaining to her that when it gets below 40, the iguanas like seize and then they fall out of trees. And what?
I'm talking to him.
I was like, what was I not supposed to say that? And then we were driving around and we saw an iguana scurrying across the road right when it got warm on Saturday. And I was like, maybe this one just woke up and was like, whoa, what the hell happened last night? Like, you think the iguanas that, like, when they unthaw, they're like, where am I?
It's got to be bizarre. Like those alligators that get frozen in the ice.
It's like waking up from like a blackout drunk night and you're just like, how did I end up in the street?
It has to be confusing, right? You're an animal who shouldn't be in South Florida. You are an animal that cannot deal with the cold. You appear to be dead when it is that you are cold in order to protect your bloodstream, and then Pat Riley is burying you in the backyard, and you are indeed dead, because then you can't climb out of there, and you're not like, holy shit. You never wake and are like, holy shit, I don't know what happened last night. You're just dead. Something that Dan Quinn, did you guys notice this yesterday? Because as you know, I don't consume much of the noise around pregame coverage, because I find it fairly useless to have anyone telling me what they think is going to happen in a game I'm about to watch, when the expertise doesn't help you in any way be predictive. But the reporters were all using some form of, and Jake Tapper spoke to this when he said, well, the Eagles are going to be extra motivated in this circumstance. Dan Quinn was feeding reporters. Jay Glazer evidently was in the meeting where this was said, but other reporters had the information of Washington's not playing for house money. They're playing for the rent money. That was Dan Quinn's motivational speech before allowing more points than any team has ever allowed in this situation before. And more touchdowns than any team has ever allowed in this situation before. But he was just wandering around, evidently, telling reporters, it's not house money. We're not happy to be here. We're playing so hungry, it's like we're needing to make the rent money. We're desperate. And then,
we have to pay rent.
And then what ends up happening is the Eagles end up putting a knee on your neck, and you just start fighting everybody because you're frustrated.
It was funny. Saquon's first touch, and they shoot, the camera pans over to Dan Quinn. He's like, I told these guys about him. We spoke about this.
I think every coach probably did that.
We spoke about him.
No 60-yard runs on the first play. No 60-yard touchdown runs where you breaks 3 tackles on the first play. Can we not have that?
You know what happened to me yesterday, Dan? I think you know, because you follow along in our weekly fantasy contest. Go to dkng.co/Smirnoff, presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. I took the Commanders defense. Yeah. There's only 4 teams.
What was your thought process?
Well, there's only 4 teams, and you had to kind of save money where you could.
So you saved it there.
So I saved it on defense, because I said, you know what? Travis had a big week last week. I'm going to splurge at tight end, because his tight end cost is like twice as much as everyone else. But like, if you get points at tight end, you get points at tight end. So I was going to spend money there, and I wanted Saquon. I was going to spend money there. I had to save money somewhere, and I did on Commanders defense. And boy, oh boy, was that not the play, Dan? Who'd you go with?
I didn't participate.
Oh, really? Wow.
Next week.
You were regular.
Well, here's the thing. Next week is off, obviously, because it's the Pro Bowl.
You can't do single game showdown captain mode?
No games, though.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
2 weeks from now.
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to be part of our league,
join
GBF's weekly contest, dkng.co/Smirnoff, presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. Fresh new lineup. I'm not going to pick the Commanders defense again. I can't, even if I wanted to.
I actually understand the pick by you, because why would you want to take your chances with a defense against either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? Why would you want to take a chance against a defense against Jaden Daniels? Like, you picked the defense to stop the weakest of the quarterbacks that was remaining among the 4, and then you just saw your defense bludgeoned. It's also the weakest defense among the 4, unless you consider Buffalo's weaker than that. But I'm not very impressed with Washington's defense. That's not a championship defense, and Jaden Daniels was going to have to take that team wherever it is that it went. But when you look at the Philadelphia, when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, Stugotz,
yes, they're good.
And thank you. Not excellent analysis by you, but accurate. Yes, they are good. They're playing in the Super Bowl. That tends to usually go to only good teams. That's something that, with few exceptions, you can go ahead and try and name them all if you like. But usually the teams that the Grossman Bears weren't all that good, and you could name a few.
Kerry Collins Giants.
I'm not certain either of the Giants Super Bowl teams were any good. I mean.
Saquon Barkley, though, running the ball when the entire sport has shifted in a different direction, and the idea of Stugotz, like this part to me is interesting, even though I think most people listening to this are rooting against Eagles fans, okay? This sport is something that we love, at least in part, because somehow America thinks of itself as the tough, gritty people who can overcome everything and steal your land violently if they need to. The entire sport is a celebration of sort of the things America cherishes, grabbing what you want through violence. And I saw a story here I wanted to ask you guys because being tougher than everyone else in that sport, being stronger, being more physical, being running the ball even though everyone knows you're going to run the ball, and on the first play you go 60 yards. That style is something that is usually admired. And I was watching Zach Randolph the other day on Paul George's podcast, and Zach Randolph was talking about being a rookie in a locker room that had Ruben Patterson in it. Ruben Patterson was viewed as a bully by others. Zach Randolph fancied himself and was somebody who was not to be trifled with. He was somebody that was feared by others. And Zach Randolph is saying Ruben Patterson comes out of the weight room one time and comes into a locker room where he's known as the bull, and he's like, no one can slam me. Who can slam me? No one can slam me, and nobody wants any part of it. And Zach Randolph finally says, well, I'm tough. I'm from the hood. I can do this. I'll slam you. I'll do this. And then he gets thrown all over the locker room. Ruben Patterson throws him physically on his back, and he can't walk for a week because Zach Randolph is manhandled. The Philadelphia Eagles, we like space age. We like passing. We like touchdowns. We like skill position, wide receivers. Jokic will never get to be Michael Jordan because he doesn't fly through the sky. But the style Philadelphia is playing, isn't that something that not only regionally you're going to have Philadelphia embrace that more than anything, which is not just we're going to beat you, we're going to beat you up. Yeah. Our offensive line is going to maul you, and our quarterback doesn't even have to be that good. Like, our quarterback can be an afterthought in the offense as long as he doesn't lose the game.
Eagle fans would rather win the Super Bowl rushing the ball 36 times for 229 yards like they did yesterday than doing it through the air. It represents that team, according to Eagles fans, is very representative of their city and what that city is all about.
You tell me something that feels better as a sports fan in that sport than my team is going to physically make you fight out of frustration because there's nothing left for you to do other than be run over.
I guess having Patrick Mahomes would feel better. But you're right. You're right. They're to our city's identity. They run the ball. They stop the run. They do the basics, the little things, and that's how they get it done.
But it's not even the little things. It's the things that require strength from your 350-pounders above on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
They're going to ransack you. They're going to have an offensive line that is the best we've seen in football for 5 years running, even when they changed the parts. Like, the thing that was special about the Lions team this year was their offensive line. And this was the year that the Lions offensive line got to be in the conversation with the Philadelphia offensive line. It really is staggering in retrospect that more people that the Giants traded him within the division, and that more people didn't see how seismic an addition that running back would be with that offensive line so that they can mask their quarterback.
But it was so hard to see that. That's why I give the Giants a pass here. It was like the running back position has been so devalued that how could they possibly think giving Saquon to the Eagles would mean the Eagles would go on to a Super Bowl and maybe win it?
You have to make a correction here. They didn't trade him. He was tagged.
Right. You're right.
And then
Forgive
walked.
me. Yes, he signed. They let him go to the Eagles when they knew it was a threat that he would go to the Eagles. But yes, you're right. He did not get traded. The Giants chose to not have him and chose to not have him while knowing that he would and could go to Philadelphia.
The worst thing that happened to the Giants and Joe Shane and Brian Daboll is winning that playoff game. Because they were almost forced to give Daniel Jones, I know it sounds crazy, but they were forced on the heels of that performance to give Daniel Jones the contract.
They didn't have to, though. They could have given it first to Saquon, and there were problems vocally in that locker room that they didn't give it first to Saquon.
But if the Giants have Saquon, are they any better than they were this year? I mean, maybe a couple of games? Maybe.
Not a lot better. No, he and Derrick Henry went to the perfect teams for them.
Yes.
To go to in order to make themselves be better and make those teams be better. It's a crazy thing to think of. How much time have we spent the last 5 years talking about anybody's running game?
We haven't.
Anybody's running game.
That's a novel concept.
Like
Offensively.
the running game's been replaced by all the 2-second passes, all the bubble screens, all of the
and the quarterback's running.
Get rid of the ball as fast as you can. But when we talk about the 4 best remaining teams in the playoffs, I assume that you would put Baltimore among those. You are talking about 2 of those teams being the teams that play the old-fashioned way in their usage of the running back. I mean, I know.
Yeah, San Francisco had a pretty good run.
Even the Bills using James Cook, right? Yeah.
But carried by running game, like where the
last 2 weeks the Bills were carried by the running game.
McCaffrey was AP Offensive Player of the Year.
But we never think of in most backfields. We do not think of the running back being more important than the quarterback. I'm not sure if we think of it in San Francisco either. Maybe
understood. I mean, even while McCaffrey was sacking up AP Offensive Player of the Year honors, remember Brock Purdy was at one point the favorite for NFL MVP in the very same season.
If I say to you though, in Baltimore's backfield, who do you want? You can only have one of the 2 guys, Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson. There's only
Lamar.
There's only one. There's only one team
Josh Allen or James Cook.
Among the best teams. It's Saquon is the one that has behind the quarterback the most important player. Juju, I am so sorry. You must be crushed today. I don't know your state, the Bills. You are a very public Bills fan. You are proud of your team, I'm sure. Who are you mad at? Stugotz is firing McDermott. Mike Ryan is saying drastic change is necessary. Where do you fall on all of this stuff?
Man, I'm not mad at anyone. I think that we dropped the ball around the trade deadline. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to shore up our defense, our DBs and our cornerbacks. And we did land Amari Cooper. But as you can see last night with Khair Elam, he was on an island all night. You feel me? And he's had that reputation with us Bills fans pretty much all year. You know what I mean? When he's out there, Hail Mary. And so I think that's where the game was pretty much lost. I know that, the world would be harping on the line, the judges and stuff like that. But I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? I think we dropped the ball and we're responsible for getting our act together. Nobody's responsible but us.
Anyone on your team that you want shipped out or change, or what do you want? It can be as simple. We keep running into the same guy and he's difficult to beat. It ain't like a whole lot of people are beating him, but a lot of people are wondering whether the Bills should make some sort of change because they can't get past that team.
I mean, they should make some change and take the defensive side of the ball seriously. Like, we should go after some of those key free agents. Like when Marshawn Lattimore went to Washington, it seemed like an awesome job. It didn't prove so yesterday, but moves like that, make a splash move on defense, I think that will help us shore up the production, because you have to play perfect football against those brothers. And it was a lot. When I saw the schedule line up, Lamar, then Pat, it's like, dang, it's going to be a uphill battle having to play perfect football 2 weeks in a row. And that's why I think it's always good to get that coveted number 1 seed so you can play the Houston Texans and just get the winner of the real battle. You know what I mean?
I walked in after the first couple of hours of the show into the shipping container, and I was like, it's been a ton of sports today, a lot of sports. We've been doing sports, and everyone said it's a good day to do sports. What was the feedback of the audience today? Because we spent basically 6-7 hours the last 24 hours talking about that one game last night.
Yeah, I mean, the people online seem to pretty much love it. You know what I mean? It's pretty much all that was going on outside of politics and some of the tragedies going on around the world. I think this was the most pressing thing to talk about. And the crowd was, the audience did a great job today. They was locked in. They was arguing. Like, a lot of people was like, dang, does Dan know that the Chiefs won the game last night? Because you was pretty much saying that, you know what I mean? A lot of calls went their way, but overall the audience loved it.
Was I a lot? Was I negative on the subject of the Chiefs just because I'm not impressed by their skill guys? I'm impressed by their quarterback, and their quarterback is making their skill guys, win no matter what. But they've got a whole bunch of receivers I don't expect to get more than 60 yards in a game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were perfect. That's why sometimes I don't like to read some of these comments because, it's just constructive criticism, but sometimes just some guys are just goofballs in the chat at times. So I think today was wonderful.
It's just not that sexy the day after a big game like that to be like, they're close. But I agree with you. They are close. Like, I don't think they need to make drastic changes. Like a couple bounces here or there, and they're in the Super Bowl.
Right. Like you said, that one play where you saw the referee coming in, he was on the first down side, and this other referee was paid by the Chiefs. It was like, oh, well, you could see if those calls go differently, then of course. But I'm not here to complain about any of that stuff. We got to get better, man. We got to look ourselves in the mirror and say, how do we slay this dragon? Because it hurts.
I really would want to hear the mic'd up conversations, like when two officials are running at each other and they have different lines. Like, is like the more veteran official just get like, I'm your rank? Like, sorry, we're going with mine. I don't care where you had it. Or is it just a debate? What if they disagree? What if they're like, no, this is the spot. No, this is the spot. Like, does the ref with the white hat come in and be like, all right, we're gonna meet in the middle here. You guys say here, we're gonna put it here. Like, it's a ridiculous exercise. The more you think about it.
Right. And does the person like? Does one ref say, no, you get a penalty if the clock runs out, the play clock runs out before the 2-minute warning? Or does the other referee comes and say, no, it's a blended clock. From the meeting we had when we first became refs, we can blend this. Like, it's a lot going on. So I'm not going to focus on the refereeing. I'm just going to focus inward and say we can do a better job.
That is nice of you. It is a good way of looking at it. I just am amused by Josh Allen's legacy being affected because Ed, whose eyesight we don't know about, who has another job as a lawyer, is running as fast as he can to mark a ball incorrectly on the field. And then we're deciding, hey, Josh Allen, forever, we're going to laugh at you as being worse than Patrick Mahomes because Ed didn't get his eyes checked this week and had a bad spot. Actually, he was thinking about something else during that play. He's got some problems at home, and his judgment was impaired because he hasn't been sleeping well. And that's how we're going to decide how Josh Allen gets remembered. I love that I made his name Ed.
Great.
Ed's a good name for somebody who has bad eyesight, who is impacting with his judgment Josh Allen's future and legacy.
Do those judges go home after that game and think, oh shit, I was a little too involved with that? Or do they think, this was my Super Bowl and I nailed this?
You think that Ed goes home at night, opens up his fridge whenever it is that he gets home at midnight, and just tells his wife when he closes the fridge, yeah, I just decided the AFC Championship game, and my decision was the reason that people will be yelling about how great Patrick Mahomes is and how great Josh Allen is.
He picks up his phone after the game and he sees a text from Madeline, and and had the game go.
Yes.
And it's. I had a lot to do with this
Maddie, I was in the middle of everything, Maddie. Yes. What are the polls that we have to update here, either from today or last week? Any outstanding from last week?
Yes. Well, we have a couple from the day that we pretty much went through all of them last week. And side note, I don't think we ever talked enough about, like, I'm also half of an Eagles fan as well. My cousin, Darius Slay, is going back to the Super Bowl. That's my third cousin. So it's like, I'm not all the way sad, but it's just we were one win away from the Juju Bowl, and that would have been, I would have put up billboards. But neither here nor there. Greatest coach in Eagles history: Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, Dick Vermeil, or Nick Sirianni. And 65% of the audience says Andy Reid.
Billy pointed out that Sirianni's winning percentage is in the 70s and Andy Reid's is about 53%. And I remember them not loving him a whole bunch in Philadelphia when he wasn't winning Super Bowls, being great every year but not winning Super Bowls. Funny to see the revisionist history now that we're looking at the polls. What else you got?
I do think you were right, too. Nick Sirianni, or Stugotz was right. Nick Sirianni is one loss away from being fired by all of us. Neither here nor there either. Were people tougher during Stallone's days? 74% of the audience says yes. 26 says no.
I mean, what are you shaking your head about, Chris?
I mean, that poll, like Sylvester Stallone, like that's always going to come back that way, just because he's a tough guy.
Yes.
But if you hear the sound,
yes,
yeah.
You know, back.
Do you guys watch Tulsa King?
I saw like
the
first
Tulsa
season.
King?
I saw first season, I believe.
I just discovered Mike was making fun of me because during one of these football games, I saw advertised for the first time somehow the Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. And I'm like, I can't believe that this is something we're still doing. How old was he in the last Expendables movie that he was in? Because Stallone is he 80 yet? He's pretty close to 80. So he's really pushing the action guy's limits when he's sitting here talking about AI and your brain being in a pickle jar and whatever else he was talking about there.
76.
Yeah.
2 years ago was the last Expendables. He's 78 now, so he was 76 the last time.
Expandables is the movie I'd be in.
My bad.
With a fat Tom Brady. Expendables is the movie that he's in. What else?
You can see where my brain's at.
What else? Well, I saw you eating pizza. I saw you expanding while shoveling pizza into your face at the start of this segment. What else do you have, Juju?
Does Zach Ertz lead the league and still got it? 82% of the audience says yes, he does.
What are those other 18% doing?
Right. He played amazing yesterday, Zach Ertz. Like, he's a testament to, like, bro, never give up. Remember the Eagles? Like, you know what I mean? Let him go for a while back. He went with the Cardinals and now the Commandos. Like, bro, he still got it.
And it is funny to see some of these tight ends be unguardable because of how good the quarterbacks are at just putting people in the perfect position these days. Do we have anything else that we need to get to?
Yes, sir. Are we still making Marvs? 87% of the audience says, no, we are not making Marvs anymore.
You can't name it. Marvin, maybe, right? There might be some occasional Marvins being made, but are there any Marvs that aren't Marvins? Is that why am I asking you guys this question as if you would have an immediate answer? But if
it is a marvelous.
There might, I guess Marv would be short for marvelous as well. But it's almost, put it on the poll as well, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Is Marv always short for Marvin? Because I don't think you can be Marv without being a Marvin. Anything else worth noting? Do you have? I'm always enjoying when you come to the trough with takes that no one else has. I don't know you can do that every day or not, but you've been pretty strong lately when you have a take or a rule change that no one else is considering.
Yes, one of the rule changes that I was advocating for, which is being able to review some of these penalties and some of the stuff that's not reviewable. Just why not make those reviewable? I've seen that Shefty put out a tweet that said moving forward, some of those things are going to be reviewable now. So I think that'll progress the game a lot. But outside of that, I'm still having a tough time realizing who's home and who's away in the NBA. That's pretty rough for me, but nothing of note.
You're not mad at the refs today. You're just being positive and you're not blaming anybody, because it is, when you talk about rule changes and how important some of these things are, instant replay allows us to get these things right, and we're not using the technology to its maximum potential in not lining up and putting that football on both downs, Juju. It wasn't just a fourth down. Kincaid, I thought, made the first down with where it should have been spotted on third down right before that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunately I've had to, like I said, during my brief time off, I went to therapy and I got all of the good juice of therapy. And I know that everything that happens in this world, you just assume it's your fault. That's my New Year's resolution. Everything this year is my fault. So I'm extending that to the Bills. Man, let's get 11 yards for first down. Let's not leave it to the referee's opinion or judgment. We know we're playing Patrick Mahomes at home to go to the Super Bowl. So we got to be kind of overwhelming. So I'm just going to take responsibility for the Bills, man. We got to do it. We got to get better and not leave it in their hands.
Have you ever worn this particular color combination as an outfit before, where you have the Buffalo Bills overalls with the Jalen Hurts jersey backwards? Have you ever put these two together before?
Yes, sir. I got a half and half Buffalo Bills Eagles jersey, and I get rocks thrown at me from Buffalo fans and Eagles fans. So I didn't wear that one today, but I'll be wearing this a lot, and it doesn't go over well. Never.
Good seeing you, Juju. We will talk to you tomorrow, sir.
Yes, sir.